Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. Happer and Schaefer. It's Happer and
All right, good morning and welcome in. Happy Wednesday. It is Happer and Schaefer here on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone mobile app, the Zone radio network. I am Connor Happer alongside Mike Schaefer, Joey Warcola. Hi, guys. Good morning.
Good morning, gents.
Good
Happy
morning.
Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Ready to go. Joey, you dedicated our show to the Mariners getting absolutely creamed last night.
Yes, sir.
This is it.
It is.
This is 22-0. Look at that graphic if you're watching along with us on YouTube.
I had to dive deep into the Twitter on Josh Peterson's Twitter account to find the picture of Stibbs from when they were at Roncalli and he was hanging out with them.
Well, there he is.
And I'm very thankful I was able to find it at the very last second.
Stibbs is not in a good place right now.
Yeah,
He was tweeting last night.
I feel bad.
He seemed quite broken by the season, which
I have some questions to ask to Stibbs, sort of like, I know he's not here to answer them, but like, is he like, this is a legit question. Is he new to baseball? Because as we've discussed before, 95% of baseball is pain and sadness.
Yeah,
and it's horrible.
new, no, in the sense that I think he's been really into it for about 4 or 5 years, but new relative to,
They were awesome last year.
Sure.
Awesome ride that ended in terrible heartbreak.
Okay, you had a year in which you were right there potentially to make the World Series. Your team made moves to try to get better in the offseason. And then they just came out and progressively laid a giant egg.
Right. We are not going to be good forever. This is sending the message, completely. And it does happen. It does happen.
It's
sadly
baseball. When your team is bad in baseball, it's every day. And
that's right.
They're
So you just
also
start
bad in
watching
the
other
most
games.
annoying way, which is kind of like when it spits when it rains instead of just full raining.
Mhm.
You're like, just rain, get it out of the way. Instead, it's just kind of a little bit, and you have to sit around and wait, and then you finally think that it's over, and then it pours on you.
Yeah.
That's basically what the Mariners see.
And then they give you a little bit of hope, and like the sun comes out for a while, and then it just
Then
starts
pours
raining,
again.
and it pours again. Yeah. So I mean, this is how baseball is. You most of the years, unless you have the great fortune of being like, I don't know, a fan of a select few franchises who even they have
Certainly not ours.
their own. Certainly not ours. Baseball is pretty much 100% pain.
Yeah.
The entire time. And yes, sometimes you lose 22-0. I think the Royals accomplished that feat this year. Excuse me, Mr. Gilmore. I believe Mr. Gilmore accomplished that feat no more than an hour ago. I believe that was the case earlier this season. There was a pretty famous one, but yeah, the box score is pretty rough. It was the classic. Some of the classic things happened when your team is getting absolutely destroyed, like your all-star, superstar center fielder throwing the ball into the stands with 2 outs and the bases loaded in the inning after catching the second out. He's like, I'm going to get rid of this. 2 extra runs score. That makes it 21-0 last night. Tough.
So the biggest sort of they had a 9-run 8th inning.
They did.
Okay.
Yes.
I was like, because again, I saw it when it was 11-0,
and runs 8 and 9 were scored because Julio
Yeah.
Rodriguez threw the ball into the stands.
Truly remarkable there for Seattle, but also for the Brewers. I mean, anytime you can knock out 22 hits, score 22 runs, clearly they'll come back today and they won't need any of those runs that they scored in a 22-0.
Yeah, they'll
game.
probably lose
That never happens.
6-4 or something.
Yeah.
And leave 14 guys on base or something like that. Yeah. That's the way it usually goes. So that was baseball last night. The Cubs won in a walk-off. The Royals won in a walk-off last night. Any other notes, exciting things that happened? People probably wearing horrible jerseys all across baseball.
I've got
last night. Oh, I know one. There was a baseball equinox yesterday.
Okay.
All 30 teams were playing at the exact same time. There weren't, I don't believe, any day games yesterday.
No day games.
So everybody, there was at least a few moments yesterday. It doesn't happen all the time where every team was playing actively at the exact same time.
So there must not have been any late start then.
Must not have been.
because Cleveland played at 5:40 and they would have been done by a little after 8:00.
Rockies and Dodgers would have been
And that was in Colorado, so it would have started.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been Rockies and Dodgers in Colorado was the westernmost game last
That
night.
has to be super rare.
None of the West Coast. So the Giants were on the road.
Yep.
Let's see here. The
Texas was at home. They're AL West.
Arizona's in Boston. San
Yep.
Diego's in New York. Oakland's in Kansas City. Sacramento. Seattle's in Milwaukee. And the Angels are in Houston. Yeah.
This
Wow.
is weird.
That is an oddity.
I did not know that.
Baseball.
Look at that. This week in baseball.
This
happening
week in
unprompted.
baseball.
I
has
do have
already
a
happened.
baseball related question in free balling a
Oh.
little bit later.
Very good.
So we'll have some more baseball to discuss.
Is
as
it
well.
about?
Shohei Ohtani.
It's not. It's
Yeah.
not even about MVP either.
Oh, okay.
Check this out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to check this out. Cody writes in on the text line. Agree. 99% of baseball is pain. Such a terrible sport. It's great. It's the best sport, but it's terrible. You got to.
I have no argument over any.
You have to really be committed to it. That's for sure.
I love it, and I hate how much it hates me.
Yeah. Yep. It usually does. It does not smile back on you.
No.
Maybe once in your life at one point.
Never. I don't believe it.
From today's show, we will have many of our esteemed guests. Sam McEwen will join us at 8:30 as normal. Lauren Michelson, yes, coming up at 9:15 today.
I didn't get any. Maybe that would be devastating if she stops telling me that she can't come on anymore. But as far as I know, she's set to go.
And the assumption is that not that she's coming on the show with us. She's not coming on the show. That would not be good.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Long time before we get to that point. So Lauren will tentatively join us at 9:15. And as we discussed yesterday, our dear friend Sean Bach, who covers Iowa for Hawkeye Insider, the Iowa 24/7 site, will join us to talk some quarterbacks and more coming up at 7:30 this morning. Thanks to Sean.
I asked him,
And maybe the
how
White
early
Sox.
he was getting up these days, because I don't know. I mean, usually a lot of your work in that industry is done in the afternoon, evening.
Yeah, and he's a young fella.
Yeah, he's like 25. He's Matt, basically.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't sure how early he was getting up. He's like, I could do an interview at 5:30 if you need it. I was like, no, we don't need that.
Yeah,
We're good.
That.
I'll
that
give
was
you
nice
two
of
more
him.
hours. 7:30 is great.
That was nice of him to offer.
Yeah, no, it really was.
He said he would do anything for us.
Yeah, basically.
Wow, fantastic. That's why we like Sean. He will join us coming up at 7:30. We'll talk Iowa quarterbacks, the White Sox, and I want to ask him if he has any ins to get tickets to next year's Field of Dreams game. I'm going to start asking everyone. I need to lay the groundwork now. It's almost like entering the Masters lottery that I know I'll never win, but I have to at least try.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're not going to put in the effort, then what are you doing?
Exactly. All right. So that is our guest lineup today. We'll free ball. We'll figure out what we're going to do with our balls without balls segment, which is coming up here in this hour as well. People want to talk about the sellout streak. So we will engage with the sellout streak conversation. Do you know why this is happening?
Why are people wanting to talk about it?
Yes.
Does it have to do with Nebraska taking out advertising to sell tickets?
A little. Yes, a little.
Does it have to do with the fact Nebraska still has tickets to sell? A lot.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes. That's the main point. Yeah.
Okay. I'm not sure if there's anything else I missed in there.
There was like a story from WWT that I'm looking at it from a couple days ago, and it had some I guess some information in there. So we'll talk about it. I guess we'll talk about the sellout streak today, which may or may not continue according to who you listen to. I just feel like we've been down this road a million times. I will step on my own take, but like I just feel like we've been down this road a million times.
Pardon your take.
And then the sellout streak still survives. Even though it's not real, everyone knows it's not real, but it'll survive, which is fine.
Well, you'll have to wait for what I have to say about it.
I couldn't help myself in that regard. Schaefer has more questions. Nebraska got a new analyst in the radio booth.
Yeah.
And he'll join the show on Friday.
Yeah, 8 a.m. on Friday.
Congratulations to excellent golfer Jay Moore. Well done.
It's going to cut into his golf some. I hope he knows that.
Yeah, on Saturdays. On Saturdays. Probably on Fridays too with some road trips.
I would assume on
Fall golf?
maybe Thursdays too.
Yeah.
He preps a little bit.
Dang.
So he's given up basically 3 days.
He's given up definitely. We'll have to ask that question. Like, how many holes of golf?
How many
Are you
less holes of
missing?
golf is he
Yeah.
going to play now?
Like we'll have to establish how many holes per golf, how many holes of golf per week is there. If we get a number on that, then we can see how many he's going to have to take away because of this new job.
Should see if he's looked at the schedule. Like they're going out to Eugene. If that's a night game, is he bringing clubs? Is he going to try to sneak out to one of the courses out there on a Saturday morning? Well, you're just killing time.
Right. Depends on how early they get there and stuff
True.
like that, you know. So we will maybe get all those questions answered. So congratulations to Jay Moore, the new color analyst for Nebraska football and the radio broadcast. We will talk with him on this show coming up on Friday. Yesterday at football practice, there was a lot of talk about offensive, defensive lines, and special teams.
Yeah.
Brett Maher spoke yesterday. We have a camp fight. We have a national champion coming home to Nebraska. The Rugs.
This is actually really cool.
The Rugs brought it home last night.
They had a battle all the way back to do it.
How about they had like a 3-run home run and
They had 2 3-run home runs.
I mean, incredible.
They basically erased a 5-run deficit.
How about Carpetland?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about the team. How about Carpetland, the company? Okay.
Getting some great run here.
How much return on investment were they expecting to get, and how much are they going to get now? How much exposure are they getting? Oh, everywhere, all you look at is now Carpetland.
Yeah.
Carpetland.
It's great advertising for them.
And all they did was sponsor a Legion baseball team.
They've been the sponsor for a long time.
They have. It has been since I've been playing. Yeah.
I want more information on that. Someone's going to have to dig into it.
Okay. Maybe somebody can give us an answer on that. Also, I have an opinion about a topic that is going around college football right now. People are talking about what you can and cannot do on Saturdays during the fall.
Yes, we've reached. I know where this is going.
Many of the buff tight shirt guys are opining on this at this very moment, and I have an opinion as well. So that is the setup for the show today. We would love to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at us at HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor, Mike, or Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Who's that huge guy?
And we say good morning to our YouTube streamers. Hi, guys.
What's going on with them this morning?
Welcome to the party. I don't know. Yesterday, once again, was another one of those days where we got off the rails. Somebody jumped in there and started talking about some nonsense, and there they went. I want to keep our YouTube streamers engaged in us. Focus on us.
They're interested in their own conversations, which happens.
They are.
I mean,
maybe if we could be more interesting, though, we could get them to talk about things that we're talking about.
It won't matter. It really won't.
You know?
Here's my experience.
It'd be nice.
You would. I would write an article, whatever it would be. Maybe it's a recruiting one. Maybe it's something about the team. Whatever it is, there might be a couple comments early about what's in the actual structure of the story, and then invariably by like the third or fourth comment would be something related to either Scott Frost, Matt Rule,
Dylan
Raiola. So one of the hot button people, and then conversation would just devolve from there. Flame throwing would happen, and then you're just off to the races. It's just human nature. You can't funnel all.
Can
of the
we
focus.
change human nature?
We can try. That's what we set out to do every day.
That's right.
But invariably, someone will join the chat or around 8 a.m, and they'll say something about Rule that someone will disagree with, and they'll be off and going, and they'll have their conversation. But that's part of the beauty of it. That's part of the beauty of our StreamYard community. We never know what the hell they're talking about. And sometimes they know what we are.
I do like the randomness from time to time, because you could really...
Oh, it can be entertaining.
You could really dive in there and pluck out
question.
stuff that is mildly entertaining, but sometimes we lose the plot, which is, like Schaefer said, it's something that we cannot control. But it's something that we definitely do notice. Somebody's going to come in around 8 o'clock and be like, hey, did you ever think about this? And it's about nonsensical items.
Something that we have controlled, and we've controlled the last couple days, and even to the point that you can wear a white shirt without it being a big deal.
Look at
The
this.
lighting in here is so much better now.
Okay, so is
the
it
way the morning has started?
it like are we sure on this? This is something that I would love to get a comment on from the people who are watching the shows, like instead of nonsense. Is the lighting actually better?
I mean, Pesky seems to think so.
Do we like it how it's kind of dark elsewhere and light on our faces without my entire head turning into what looks like a white or beige balloon?
Sure.
Okay.
No, it does. I think it unquestionably looks better than the alternative. And I think it looks pretty good overall. I don't think it affects us from doing our job.
We have this glare in the window right here, which is exciting. I don't know. We'll have to mess with it. We get more natural elements on this side of the building than we used to. Joey, how long have we been in the studio now? I was thinking about this the other day.
A little over a month. I think it was right after the 4th of July when we moved over here. It was on a Tuesday, I think.
Okay.
So I think
it was a Wednesday
or
because I had left. I was gone Thursday, the 9th and 10th. Our first show would have been Wednesday.
Wasn't the 4th of July on the Saturday?
4th of July was on a Saturday.
Okay.
First show in the studio was the 8th.
That's
July
correct.
8th. We've been here for over a month. Let's see. We get a YouTube comment. Lighting is good. Faces still need work.
No argument there.
That's constructive. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely no argument there.
Headley, this is much better. Connor doesn't look like a bearded light bulb. And Sindelar says the lighting looks professionally done.
I did stand up there and move the track lighting.
Shout out to Mike Schaefer.
Headley also says sometimes when I looked at Connor for too long, it felt like I was walking toward the light and Connor was motioning, "Come here, my child." As if I was welcoming you into the pearly gates.
Now that's a graphic.
Exciting.
That is a graphic.
Also, we got a surprise this morning. We are excited. We all got new polos for the golf tournament.
Yeah,
I was
wondering if you saw that.
Oh, we saw. We immediately had to remove them from this studio, which is a high rate splash zone, considering Matt McMaster sits here for 4 hours a day.
And his previous drink ledge is now housing the bobbleheads, and he was upset by this yesterday.
Yeah, I did not think about that. I did not think about that at all. When I
it
created
immediately
the bobblehead.
felt like it was because of him. Which
he felt like it was a slight. It was like, did you do this because you wanted to remove my ledge where I put my drinks? I was like, oh, no, but actually that is a good thing.
No, it's an excellent side benefit.
Yeah,
we liked it because we liked the bobbleheads to be displayed.
Yeah.
Had really nothing to do with him, but it also works out well that, he can't use it to set his drinks on.
Just adding a little character. Text from the 402. If you spend 20 minutes on the sellout streak like Unsportsmanlike Conduct did yesterday, I will definitely blow up the chat with anything else.
Okay.
Can we
talk trees?
Can we put a limit on the sellout streak conversation? Can we do it for
I think we can safely say that we can have that in less than 10 minutes.
Less than 10? That seems ambitious.
Really?
Less than 10 seems ambitious.
You have that much material you want to get through?
Not me.
Oh, you think people will immediately respond to it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I think we could, if we could cap it at 15, I'd feel really good at that.
Do we come back with it? Or do you want to save the sellout conversation for later?
Sure. Let's just do it now. 6 a.m. hour where we're we're still waking up. We could smack you in the face with some sellout.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Off and running on a Wednesday. We'll be right back after this on Happer and Schaefer on 1627. Well, is this true? Mike writes in on YouTube. He says John and Josh didn't like the bobbleheads. I didn't listen to. I didn't hear any of their show yesterday. They didn't like them. Now is that
They were calling you a little child for just setting up your little
I am a
display
little
of
child.
bobbleheads.
I have no problem with that. But do they like them or not?
I don't know. Josh was pretty much focused on going after me for predicting he would be the first.
Yeah, Josh's anger was about that.
Well, that was an accurate. I mean, it wasn't an accurate prediction by you, but you were just going off of past history.
Based on the college basketball crown credential, he famously kept removing off of the
glare.
Yes.
There's glare on the bobbleheads.
Are we looking at a
not on the Corver one?
Hey, we're going to talk about a camp brawl between the Saints and the Cowboys later. I mean, are we looking at a camp? Are we brewing toward a camp brawl between the morning show and the afternoon show? A tradition unlike any other.
Whoa.
The morning and the afternoon show are weird to each other.
Should we, after the show, leave a 1620 the voicemail defending the bobbleheads for the afternoon show?
Yes.
I think that's what we need to do.
Yes, we should.
All right.
Perfect.
I'm in.
Okay.
I love it.
We'll have to do that today.
Today's dumb debates anyway, so perfect opportunity to bring that up.
Also, we get this from Debo. I'm going to time the segment. If this goes 1 second over 15 minutes, I'm sending Fauci comments into the chat.
Oh, no.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
All right. That's a deal.
I think it's fair to decide that, like, Fauci is the scariest topic that can be thrown into the comments.
It's one of them.
What one of them? There's another one, and
There's plenty more.
Oh, yes. I mean, I'd say that, but it's because it's the one that has popped up the most.
I almost went
Yes.
further on the other topic on Friday when Nick was in for you.
Oh, no.
So start the timer now. Here we go. Nebraska. This is from WWT the other day. Nebraska's historic sellout streak faces uncertainty as ticket sales lag. This is from John Chapman. When John Chapman's on the issue, watch out. So they have more than 400 sellouts, as you know. Ticket sales lagging. That excitement in store might not be carrying over to ticket sales. So far this year, home game ticket sales are down. Big home games against defending national champion Indiana and Big Ten powerhouse Ohio State are about 10,000 tickets short of a sellout. That has some fans wondering if the record sellout streak is in jeopardy. And they interviewed a bunch of Nebraska fans, asked them if they want to see the sellout streak, keep going. And basically they start the conversation that we're going to have. Nebraska put out yesterday a deal, I think, for student tickets, which, man, I don't think there's been that many times where they were not sold out of student tickets. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, student tickets always seem like they're oversold almost, given how
Right.
packed in South would often look, or even West Stadium. So the idea that they would have to really kind of push on that. Now, I don't know how much student tickets cost anymore.
I don't either.
They used to be, I want to say it was like 300 when I was a student.
Oh, I want to say it was less. I want to say it was in the 100s.
Oh, I don't remember
No?
that.
No?
But
Maybe it was.
I could be wrong. I mean, I also feel like the demand was significantly higher when I was a student, even
Most
though
certainly.
they weren't that much better.
Yeah.
But they were better. Yeah, I think it was 300.
Okay,
is what I
maybe
paid
it
in
was in that range.
2007.
And then, of course, we've talked about this before. They have publicized a whole bunch of ticket deals that you could get, mini packages.
Yeah.
Now, some of this, I want people to some of this is just how it works. Like small mini plans are definitely like the future of, or not the future.
I think they're great.
They're the right now of selling tickets. And so I think if they're great options for people to take advantage of if they are short. Now they're obviously not sold out, I think, which is the main storyline here. But the mini packages, I think, would have been going out one way or the other.
Yeah.
Unless they were all completely sold out for the entire year, which they are obviously not, and people are now taking sort of notice of.
I mean, there's 7 home games, and if you were someone that didn't want to go to all 7 home games, but you were like, yeah, I want to see Kurt Cignetti in Indiana come to town, and you decide to buy that, you could also get a ticket to then also see North Dakota come to town as well. And so
they just put one out a couple days ago.
North Dakota one, if you end up buying the Indiana ticket, you would get to see Indiana, Kurt Cignetti, a top 10 team. You get to see North Dakota, and you would get the concert afterwards with the musician who I've already forgotten about multiple times.
Yes. Matt
And-
even talked about it yesterday, and he also talked about how often we forget it and wondering if it's a bit. And I can't emphasize this enough. It's not a bit.
Not a bit. And
I always forget, and I forgot, and I
is-
heard it less than 24 hours
Okay.
ago.
All right. We're going to figure this out before the end of
It's
the
Cole. It's
Cole Swindell.
Yes, it's Cole.
Okay. There we go.
He's doing, and then
I
Matt,
immediately was back at the Sam Hunt, Chase Rice.
and then Matt started singing his songs.
Oh, no.
Did you hear this yesterday?
No.
You were doing something. You stayed after you were doing something. He was singing his songs, like multiple for long periods of time.
Speaking of Matt singing, I got a text message from Peter last night. He took a video of him singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" at the Storm Chasers.
Oh, did Matt MC last night?
Yeah, it looks like he did. He was singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." So Peter sent me a video. I'll send it.
Peter, I need
His midday
I'll
transformation
send it your
is
way.
almost complete.
I need more videos from Peter. We'll go talk to Peter because I need more video evidence of something. Because Peter's usually running
Oh, yeah.
running can't like he could have been directing last night, which means he might have some tapes.
Okay.
I need some tapes.
I like it.
They Nebraska also put out a couple days ago with the blackout coming through. They were like, oh, by the way, here's the blackout ticket deal where you could get the Washington game and get Ohio and Bowling Green for $20.
Whoa.
That's what it says. It says blackout ticket deal, purchase ticket for Washington game, plus get Ohio or Bowling Green. I'm sorry, Ohio or Bowling Green for $20. So they're obviously way, way short on Ohio and Bowling Green in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Maybe North Dakota is coming up because of the
The
person
concert, Cole Swindell.
who is a person. Yes.
Real
and-
person, real musician.
But for right now, I mean, I guess I have really no reason to believe that the sellout streak is actually going to end because this conversation really mirrors some of the conversations that we've had prior to previous seasons. I understand that the home schedule is a little bit worse this year, especially at those first 3 games. And
The
then,
non-conference is worse. The conference is about as good as you could ask for
Right.
ever.
right.
Ever. I mean, you're getting 4 home games for conference play. 3 of them right now are against a ranked opponent. 2 of those are top 10. One of them is a legacy school. The other one is a former national champion of last year. The third ranked game is against a team that, is sort of a novelty because they're just new to the conference, but you also have a history with that you played each of the last, they didn't play them in the 2000s, but they played them in the 90s. They played them in the 2010s. They will now play them in the 2020s. And then the fourth one is sort of an interesting team in itself in Maryland. So the home game conference slate is about as good as you could ask for.
Yeah.
The non-conference slate,
It's bad.
bad.
It's very bad.
Yeah.
And so then there is, let's go deeper into the, I've been watching Frozen way too much. We go deeper into
Whoa.
the pit here.
You
right?
know, I've never seen Frozen.
This is where you discover the truth. It's
Never seen Moana.
It's really from Frozen 2.
All of your child's favorite movies I've never seen.
My only
Okay.
affiliation with that movie was in Spanish class.
Okay. What? Why you watch Frozen in Spanish?
Yeah, just randomly we were just watching movies, and Frozen happened to be one of them. That
And-
was my only encounter with
and they
that
turned it
movie.
on in Spanish.
Yes,
That's awesome.
Was it entertaining in Spanish?
I don't remember.
I'd
Did you
rather-
treat it like Sunday school?
You know what? That makes a lot of sense.
Yes, I treat it
because,
like Sunday school.
like people have seen Frozen a million, like myself have seen Frozen a million
Now you
times.
need to see it in another
So you
language.
see it in Spanish, you would be able to easily translate it because you know what the regular words,
Yeah,
you
that's
know what the
true.
English words are, the regular words. Anyway, so you go further and further down the pit, and you're like, okay, I think the sellout streak is probably going to continue, but is it going to be artificially propped up? And then you have to answer the question to yourself, has it been artificially propped up for years now? And the answer is
Yes.
of course. Of course it has been artificially propped up. And then so we get to this sort of like philosophical question of, do you want it to continue to be artificially propped up, or do you want it to just end? And I can't get myself to that point. I've been asking myself that question, I feel like in prior 2 seasons for a handful of years at least at this point. I can't ever, I'm never going to say out loud, like, I want the sellout streak to end. I don't. That just feels like a weird thing to
Yeah.
want.
there's people that seem to actively root for the sellout streak to end, which I find to be odd.
Me too. Especially, and then there's a timing aspect to this too. They're going to be minimizing capacity starting next year. Right. Like the stadium is going to be under construction with reduced capacity starting next season. And then when it comes back in full, it won't be what it is right now. And so theoretically, you'll have an easier time continuing that sellout streak because there will be less tickets to sell.
So you're saying there's 7 games they have to get through, and then it's just smooth ride after that.
You have to get through this. It's really 3, right? Because they're going to sell out the rest of the games. It's game 1, 2, and 3. Ohio, Bowling Green, and North Dakota. If you're in North Dakota, of course, is going to be a sellout because of that guy. So Ohio and Bowling Green. If you're able to get through that, you're really good for like the next 5 years.
Just be Bowling Green. Like Ohio is the opening game. Like there should be some more enthusiasm for that. Now, I have heard from people that are already unhappy that it's an 11 a.m. kick and all of those sorts of things. But again, it's the first game since the end of last season, first game in which you'll get to see new whatever on the field, whether that be Anthony Colandrea at quarterback or a new defense with Rob Arch's system or a new special teams coordinator or whatever new that you need that gets you most excited. Ohio should not be a difficult thing for Nebraska to sell out if there's enthusiasm to see this team, which I think is growing. I don't know how you feel.
I agree.
About
no, I agree. Yeah.
It always does. The slow, I don't care about this team in the offseason. I don't care has turned into I'm kind of interested. I'm more interested. Like I can see it with the numbers of other stuff that I'm doing. I can certainly see it with the interest online.
There's always all right, I'm gonna wait and see. Maybe I'll lay in the weeds a little bit for game 1 and 2.
You don't have to spend that much money to go to the Ohio game now. Like, all right, again, you go back to you want to go to now Washington. I think is a little bit tougher of a sell because it's a Halloween game and we don't know what time it's going to start.
Yeah.
But if you can go to the Ohio game for $20 and you used to only be able to go to the spring game because that was $10 or whatever it was. But there's just opportunity to go to some of these games that are going to be available for people that have a harder time getting to them from financial.
D'Lo says, how appropriate would it be to lose the sellout streak versus Bowling Green, the team replacing the Tennessee matchup?
No, there would be some.
It would send quite the message.
Some Schadenfreude there for some people, for sure.
Yeah. So I don't need this. I don't want this to. I don't want the sellout streak to end, and I don't feel like it needs to end to represent some sort of a.
I don't think any major change happens whether they stop counting it or not.
And I don't think it will. Right. Like I don't think it will end at the end of the day. I don't think that's probably they're going to get the tickets sold artificially as they have been for a few years. I'm
really interested how these strategies have gone for them so far. Like, what sort of level they've sold at, if they've met metrics that they had internally. Because obviously, some of this is they're trying stuff too, which is good. It's kind of what you want.
Yeah.
So they're not just sitting back and like begging companies to buy up blocks of 7,000 tickets.
And as we've said before, like it's a good thing in general. If you're generally speaking, I mean, we've talked nonstop over the last handful or more of years about how expensive it is to go to a football game and how these people are getting priced out and stuff like that and all this new stuff with the NIL and how it's about budgets and everything. And they're like, here, take 3 games for $20. And people are like, oh no.
Things must be terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's sort of a, it's
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. It's a bit of a balancing act there. That's for sure. Now the final question, and we're running out of time on our, Debo says we have 4 minutes.
Okay. All right.
So if it ends, what is your reaction?
It was an incredible thing that sustained a long run of Nebraska football history, and it's something that everyone can be proud of, and then you move forward.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's another team in my life that I root for that had an incredible sellout streak throughout the 90s and early 2000s with baseball, and then it ended. And you just move forward.
Yep.
And then everyone talks about the great crowds of the 90s and early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else. There's an endpoint, and it just means something else starts immediately after.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to have some overarching this is the end of Nebraska football narrative that people want to attach to it.
That happened a long time ago.
Yeah, like it's fine. You start over.
I agree.
That's what it is.
But you know how it goes.
I do know.
That will not be the reaction. Okay, we made it. Nice job, everybody. And I don't think we didn't evoke too many crazy comments either.
Okay.
And we didn't go overtime, so we didn't have to have Debo write in a Fauci comment at the end of things. So we made it. Conversation is officially concluded. 402-951-1620. If you guys have thoughts, I know a couple of you have texts, so we could get to some of those. Those don't count as part of the time limit in the conversation. So thank you. We will take a quick time out and be right back to round out the hour after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, it's time for balls. Minus the balls these
Without the
days.
balls.
Balls without the balls. Joey, so we've gone through now upwards nearly 40 Power 4 schools.
Something like that. It's a large number, I can say.
On our college football preview. And yesterday we hit Alabama and Clemson, which I thought was pretty appropriate. It's two dying programs, of course, who were once great 5 years ago, but no longer. Now, who do we go to today? This is now Joey's.
We're going to go back to the SEC. I'm kind of interested in this former Big 12 team, respected rival of Nebraska for so many years, the Oklahoma Sooners.
People forget about the respect. Really,
I don't have any.
When I think about Oklahoma, I think about one thing: respect. I respect them greatly.
I think about how they're going to be the Penn State of 2026.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, this is a team that I think just has crash and burn potential. I think their coach is in over his head. Every time he talks, he just comes off worse and worse.
Wow.
I don't love John Mateer. Their offense was bad. Now he did get hurt, and I don't know how much of it was.
He was playing hurt for a while too. Yes,
but even his playing before that against teams that weren't absolutely terrible, he wasn't exactly lighting the world up. I just think their defense
is so good though.
Their defense is very good. Their schedule is difficult. They could run into some things there. So I don't really believe in Oklahoma. I don't believe in Brent Venables, and I will continue to bang that drum.
Okay, they are picked in a tie for second in the SEC, number 6 overall.
Yeah,
from Brett Ciancia pick 6 previews. Let's do their schedule real quick, Schaefer. This will be fun. UTEP
win
at Michigan.
Win.
Okay, that was a tough one for you because Michigan and Oklahoma are two teams that you're both
well,
fading.
Some of it is I don't believe in Bryce Underwood at a higher rate that I don't believe in John Mateer.
Okay,
so
there you go. I would have said the same thing. New Mexico
win
at Georgia.
Loss.
Texas
Loss.
Kentucky
win
at Mississippi State.
Win.
South Carolina.
This could be a win or a loss, but I'll say win.
At Florida.
We'll call a loss here.
Wow. Okay. Ole Miss.
Loss.
Texas A&M.
Loss.
At Missouri.
Win.
Okay, so you did about 3 losses that I think conventional wisdom would say win or toss up.
Sure. I mean, but think of the teams. The only team that I said that they could lose to that wasn't ranked is Florida. At Florida. This is an Oklahoma team that needed to basically magically get by some teams at the end of last year with no offense whatsoever. I thought they were the worst college football playoff team by a pretty substantial margin.
You also said they would maybe lose to South Carolina.
Yeah, I think it's a possibility.
At home.
Yeah.
It seems highly unlikely.
We say that, but Oklahoma is not this well-oiled machine that's running through people.
Yeah, South Carolina is a stinky.
2 years ago last year they were a top 10 team going into the preseason.
They were, and then the season happened.
No, I get that. I'm just saying 2 years ago, Oklahoma was South Carolina. They were horrible.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's just to say I'm not chalking up that it's a guaranteed win because Oklahoma struggled a year ago to just put teams away. And I really don't believe in them that much as an organization. So I don't know. You would never have guessed sitting in the same spot a year ago that Northwestern or UCLA would have beaten Penn State either.
No. So
some of that has to do with, again, I think this is a top 10 team that will not finish the year in the top 10, probably won't even finich the year ranked.
So if you're following the Penn State logic from last year, how I view what happened to them was they lost to Oregon and then
it broke them.
And then it was okay, well, we lost and we were supposed to win the national championship and everything went to hell after that. They play at Michigan in week 2. They play at Georgia in week 4.
Yep. And then Texas right after Georgia.
After a bye.
Yeah. So, again, if they get into the meat of the SEC and all they have is a really great defense and an inconsistent offense, I think their margin for error, is really low.
Yeah, I'm going with the conventional wisdom on them. I think they're a playoff team.
Okay.
And
I definitely don't think they're a playoff
So that's what I was going to look up. What are their playoff odds right now? I would imagine they're quite, like I bet you could get a pretty good deal on them not going to the playoffs.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
CFB win totals, Heisman, and I can't find it readily available for like make playoffs versus not make playoffs, but they are plus 2,000 to win the national championship, which I think we both agree is not happening.
Nope.
Not happening on this show. The outlook on them from Brett is Oklahoma has a championship caliber defense again. The passing attack will be improved thanks to 2 key transfer additions at receiver, second-year coordinator bonus, and a healthy Mateer. Oklahoma will return to the playoffs, and they are my pick to play Georgia in the SEC championship game.
All right. So he has them basically obviously getting through some version of one of Georgia and Texas and then one of Ole Miss and A&M.
Yeah, I think you could sit at you could sit at 1 loss in the SEC and or maybe 2 losses even and get in.
It's funny because I feel significantly better about A&M than I do Oklahoma.
They are picked in a tie for second in the SEC, according to Brett, with Texas.
Yeah, that makes sense. If he thinks that they're going to beat Texas, then obviously they have the leg up to be able to go to that SEC championship.
Any other teams we want to look at, Joey?
Let's head to the Big 12 and look at the BYU Cougars.
We haven't done BYU yet?
No, we have not done BYU.
We did talk about Kalani Sitake the other day.
We have mentioned Kalani Sitake at times. BYU is picked second in the Big 12 this year, of course, behind Texas Tech. This is a team who was on the doorstep of the playoff last year. Their schedule looks like this: Utah Tech,
Win,
Arizona,
win,
at Colorado State,
win,
at TCU,
win,
Iowa State,
win,
Notre Dame,
loss,
at UCF,
win,
Arizona State,
win,
at Utah,
loss,
Baylor,
win,
at Kansas,
win,
Cincinnati.
win.
That's 10-2,
Which probably gets them into the Big 12 championship.
which probably gets them into.
So they don't play Houston. They don't play Texas Tech.
Yeah, the Utah BYU thing and how it works out is going to be fascinating. If you assume, like most people do, that Texas Tech doesn't miss a beat.
Do you know what day that is? That's on November 7th.
Yeah, the Utah BYU game.
That is the best Saturday by far for college football.
Don't have your wedding on that Saturday.
Well, if you were gonna avoid,
if you have your wedding, I'm gonna defriend you on Facebook. Don't do it. Don't even talk about November 7th. I can't. I have to sit on my
that
couch on
Saturday
November 7th.
already has Miami, Notre Dame.
Yeah,
and then you have LSU, Alabama. You have Ole Miss and Georgia, I believe. BYU, Utah, and there's another good game in there as well.
Following their breakthrough 12-win season, BYU doubled down on roster retention, kept all 10 all Big 12 players that were eligible to return in 2026. Wow. No departing star players to the transfer portal. In fact, they even added the number 1 linebacker transfer to stack the defense more. BYU's program culture is rock solid. The lines of scrimmage are stout, and now their big quarterback gets a second-year starter bonus. BYU is a clear pick to return to the Big 12 title game. I think Utah might have something to say about that. It's going to be a great game, like you said, on November 7th, which you can't get.
I could go either way on that.
But that feels like it's going to be for the other spot in the Big 12.
Assuming Texas Tech is.
If you believe that Texas Tech doesn't miss a step. Okay, those are a couple more good ones, Joey. Appreciate it. We learned a lot about Schaefer in Oklahoma today.
I'm out.
We'll see if anybody wants to join him on that train. We'll be back 7 o'clock hour coming up right after this on 1620 The Zone.
The back seat. Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back. 7 o'clock hour. Happer Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. We've got, by the way, a couple of correspondences, just a couple of messages from people over the last several days. If you signed up for our 1620 The Zone golf tournament, which is coming up on Friday, we got it. No need to be concerned. I'll talk with people who send out emails to people that people are requesting more information. But here's what you need to know. Show up. It's an 8:30 start time on Friday. Show up, probably early like you normally would for a scramble, right? I'll try and get some information out to you guys. But I mean, as far as, because people like to hold information,
Sure.
on their email and stuff like that. But which I totally understand, but you have it, we got you and you got
Get
it
there before 8:30.
before 8:30.
There's going to be breakfast burritos available. There will be no shortage of great prizes throughout the day.
Yep.
Shotgun start at 8:30, so you'll obviously want to get there so you can figure out what hole that you're at and get over to that. Come see us. We'll be there broadcasting.
Yeah.
Just outside the clubhouse.
Me, we'll be doing our show.
Yeah.
But just show up and say hi.
Yes.
By the time you get there, hopefully you're in the vicinity by about 8 o'clock. We'll be talking to Jay Moore.
Yeah.
On Friday. So yeah. I know people have reached out a couple times over the last several days. No need to be concerned.
It's at Miracle Hill, in case you didn't know which golf course.
It's at Miracle Hill, which is at about 120th and in between Dodge and Blondo.
Yeah.
120th and Miracle Hill.
There we go.
There's a hill of miracles. And you
The
can
miracle
show up
could be you if you walk home with $10,000 after a hole in one.
That would be a
Whoa,
miracle.
that would be cool.
I love $10,000 or big money prize hole in one holes, because you just think at a scramble like this, you think about it all day long. You're like, I just got to hit my best shot of the day right here. That's all that matters. If I hit this, then everything was worth it. And you hit the worst shot that you'll ever hit in your entire life on the hole in one hole.
I don't know in a scramble if I've ever hit a particularly close, I've hit some that have been for birdie, but they've never been threatening the hole in one status.
Yeah.
So I just not a pressure performer.
On a $10,000, on a whole, hit a hole in one, you win a car or something like that.
Now, my brother-in-law did that.
You won a car?
He won a lease. So you don't win a car, you win a lease. He won a 2-year lease to an Alfa Romeo.
For free?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty good.
He made a hole in one. That was the deal of the.
Did he give the car back after the 2 years?
Well, after the 2 years, he gave the car back.
Because he didn't want to pay for it?
He didn't want to pay for it.
That makes sense.
So he ended up buying
What's an Alfa Romeo?
I had never heard of this vehicle until it's
like an
Italian mini SUV of sorts.
Whoa.
So
no kidding.
Yeah, this is a few years ago.
So your brother's just driving around with this thing?
Yeah, he was that was his car for 2 years afterwards.
That is kind of a sick car.
Yeah, no, I think he liked it.
And I'm not a guy
I'm
not a guy who says sick car very much. I don't really care about cars, but that is
not
sick
to buy
car.
it after the lease was up. But he will be playing, so he will be
awesome.
Attempting to go for the 10,000.
Maybe he could win the $10,000.
He's got a couple holes.
Just whatever you do, don't hit the worst shot of your life. Yeah, on the hole in one hole.
That's the goal.
You definitely won't do that. Jimmy wrote in at the end of last hour. OMG, Connor, I was laughing so hard in my car with you doing that. Don't book it on a Saturday more. So this could be a new character on our show. So yesterday there was this, I wanted to talk about this anyway. So there's this whole big run for whatever reason on people on the internet or college football talkers having, I mean, you could like set your calendar to it. You could set your watch to it. And I don't know why it happens on this day or around this time every year, but there'll be dudes who are like, hey, listen to me here. I have the college football schedule in front of me, something that everybody's had for months. I have the college football schedule in front of me, and I've decided that October 24th or whatever it is, October 24th, you are actually not allowed to do anything. And then some people take it even further, and they'll be like, actually look at all of these weeks and look at all of these games and look at how good the games are. And here's the deal. On August 28th, you have to tell your wife and kids to go bleep themselves and get out of your life, and that you'll never see them again until February because football's on and you're not allowed to do anything else. That is the stupidest thing ever. You're allowed to have a life during football season, and you should have a life during football season. If you are blessed enough to have people in your life who are getting married in the fall, a lovely time to get married, you should, of course, accept their invitation to that wedding. It is an honor to be invited and to be a part of that person's special day, the most special day of their lives. They're inviting you to come watch and eat and be merry and celebrate. And you're going to say, no, I have to watch the Cincinnati BYU game. Come on. This is ridiculous. What have we done? I don't know why this became so popular to talk about in society. Everyone's like, football's on. You can't do anything else. Wrong. You can do anything you want. Go to the pumpkin patch. Go hang out with your kids.
I have no pushback on any of this. Do whatever you want on your Saturdays. I don't care. I'm unaffected. I will say, like, as someone that, I don't want to go to weddings on Saturdays in the fall. I'll be very honest about that.
Do you want to go to weddings ever, though?
Generally, at this point in life, no.
So
there's almost no weddings left of people that are really close to me that it's like be a monumental event or that I would be part of.
And most people will like accommodate you, and they'll be like, hey, I know that we did this and the Nebraska game's on, and so like we will humbly request that maybe you don't really have your complete focus and attention on it, but like we'll put a TV up for you after the ceremony's over.
Yeah.
Like they'll work with you.
Ultimately, the thing is, like, I can decide whether I want to go or not. I've gone to fall weddings. There's been some that I haven't been able to go to.
You can decide. That's the point. You can decide.
They are more than welcome to schedule their wedding whenever. And
Don't
if
let
it doesn't
JD
work,
Pickle.
it doesn't work.
Don't let JD Pickle tell you what you can and cannot do. Okay, that's all I ask. Festivus guy who's been in the chat mixing it up over the last couple of days writes it on YouTube. Connor doesn't understand bits. See, I don't think this is a bit. Either it's either not a bit from people who would definitely say stuff like this, like football is the only thing that matters in my life. I don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
People say that. That is not a bit. The people who say that, some people say it as a bit, but some people really don't.
No, I mean, like there's definitely people that will get very upset about the idea of a Saturday wedding in the fall.
Yeah.
Which again,
you're allowed.
You're unaffected by it. It's not your wedding. You're not the one that chose to do this. I mean, presumably. So you can just not go. If it's a family wedding,
if you decide that the football game against, Northern Kentucky means more to you than a special day in your friends and family's life, then that's your decision to make.
Yeah. I mean, more often than not, I wasn't going to weddings in the fall because I have to work on Saturday. So like,
sure,
it was like I didn't really have to think about it a lot. If I could make it work, or if it was, again, a wedding of significance and I would make it work, then I did.
I have found, we were talking about the sellout streak potentially going away earlier in the show. That conversation is over, by the way. The time has expired. We were talking about that a little bit. One of the things that is, I think maybe people have discovered that is a small slice of bliss is as Nebraska football has devolved into the product that we now see on display for us today, people have realized that you can do other stuff during Nebraska football games. And that oftentimes is the best time to do stuff.
Sure, could be.
You could go to the store and there's nobody there.
There's probably less traffic in the grocery store.
Yeah.
There's probably less people overall at Costco.
If you go to the zoo during that exact moment during a Nebraska football game, you might have the best Saturday of your life.
I mean, you sure could.
And you won't be burdened by the stress of watching a Nebraska football game.
Or
you'll just be hanging out with elephants.
You just get burdened by the stress of the Nebraska football game and you go to the zoo another time.
You could do that too.
That's the beauty of this. Like, none of it is structured that you have to do any of it.
That is true.
So, yeah, I never partake in the hard line, like never have your wedding here, blah, blah, blah. I will say my preference would be to not go to fall weddings. That's just where it's at. But as you pointed out, my preference is probably not to go to weddings in general as it is anyways.
Yes.
So it goes.
My preference, and if I'm not a football sicko, if I get removed, which I don't think I was really ever in the football sicko weirdo club, but if I get removed from saying this, then so be it. I don't
think you're in there. I think you got removed for saying that college basketball is better than college football,
which is
That's
a thing
probably
that I
what got you removed.
If I get removed from the club, or if I'm exiled from the club, or if my face gets on a poster for saying this, then so be it. I love my family and I love to hang out with them. And the football sickos are like, actually bleep those guys, football.
The people that are like on shows saying this are generally people whose job it is to work college football. So it's, they're never in danger of actually missing this anyway.
They also don't understand like sacrifice or balance because they probably work 24/7.
Probably,
like Schefter's out there like tweeting from a wedding or something like that. And everyone's like, that guy's a weirdo. And Schefter's like, no, I'm normal.
No, I'm normal.
It's football Sunday.
You're the one that's wrong.
No, you have the weirdest job of all time, man.
Imagine if he was like your best man and then the entire time you're during the ceremony, he's like, I got to step out for a second. Sorry.
That would be terrible.
And he's got the rings with him.
I would never ask Adam Schefter to be my best man.
And what all he's doing is sending out like a list of who's getting cut from Raiders camp. And he can't give you your ring in time. And so everyone's just sitting around waiting. So he can basically be like, yeah,
who would you rather have, Adam Schefter or Shams Charania?
I would never invite either of them to be my best man. If Shams or Schefter were my best friend,
if you had to pick one,
Shams, Schefter, Rothstein, Jeff Passan, if any of those guys,
Jeff Passan would be my choice. He seems the most normal.
He does seem the most normal, but if you are standing up there about to say your vows and Julio Rodriguez just signed with the Marlins, then like you got a problem on your hands.
To be fair, I too would want to know about this Julio Rodriguez signing with the Marlins thing.
The Marlins are doing it again. They're signing everyone. They're signing everyone.
I will not say any more vows. I need to learn about this contract. Why are the Marlins signing Julio Rodriguez? I didn't even know he was available.
He's like, let me check on it. And meanwhile, everyone's looking at you like, man, I don't care about
of those, Jeff Passan would be my choice. Of the Joey scenario, which is a lot worse, it would probably be Schefter because I don't care about what Shams puts out there in the first place.
Most of the times he'll probably be
you
wrong.
would choose Schefter as your best man, because you want to get.
What am I going to talk to Shams about?
I don't know.
Breaking NBA news.
But if Shams all of a sudden had to tweet
it would
NBA breaking
less,
news during your wedding, you wouldn't have to care about it.
And I would be more interested in the news that Schefter has, I'm sure. So
yeah,
maybe I should go the reverse here.
I think you'd have to flip it. Yeah.
I don't want either.
I don't either.
Yeah.
They would never be in consideration for me.
How about adding Woj and Ian Rappaport to
Woj already understood that this is ridiculous and quit.
Yeah, Woj did a great job. I would absolutely pick Woj as my best man.
Yeah. And then he can tell me about what's going on at where did he go? Northeastern? Is that where he's at?
No,
not Northeastern.
St. Bonaventure.
St. Bonaventure. That's right.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the east.
College basketball sickos too. This goes for you. I mean, the college basketball sickos are crazy. Rothstein, absolutely not.
Absolutely.
He'll probably
Jeff Goodman, absolutely not.
Definitely, absolutely not. No.
Your guy, Seth Davis?
Absolutely not.
That about covers it.
Be kind. That's all he
the-
would say.
Is that the Mount Rushmore of college basketball sickos?
Probably
I'm going to throw Ant Wright in there too as the fourth member of
the
it.
Big Ten honk ant,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
The referee audit guy.
Yeah.
Who we really, really love retweeting when he agrees with us and really, really go after what he does.
Yeah, I don't trust that guy. I feel like he's going for the clicks.
Same.
He's going for it.
He's an internet personality. You can't trust any of them.
Exactly, which is why he would never be my
Oh
best
my
man.
gosh, we're radio personalities.
Yeah, I would be your best man, and I would be normal. I would love to put away my phone for 4 hours.
That's actually really nice.
That would be awesome.
This is the best part about this past weekend.
I would love to just
low
immerse
cell
myself.
service out somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Things
we
are
would,
happening, and I can't do anything about it.
Good
Time
luck
to
with
make
that,
this
dude.
putt.
we would be great best men at your guys' weddings. We're not for hire or anything like that. But just trust me, we'd be able.
You'd be more okay with it in the fall than I would be.
You're way okay.
I want to be clear about it.
I'd be way okay, especially if Nebraska's playing like Bowling Green or something like that, which they are doing this year. Seth writes in on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox poll question: Who would you ask to be your best man, Shams or Schefter? Should we put that out as a poll?
Yeah, I think that's a good poll question.
Who would you rather have be your best man? Text of the 402. Passon was great on the Matt Barnes podcast, All the Smoke. Passon seems like he definitely has a personality.
That sounds like a very interesting two people on a podcast. Like,
Yeah.
what do Matt Barnes and Jeff Passon have?
Well,
to talk
correct me if I'm wrong here. Don't they just like? Isn't the like all the smoke they like? I don't know if is there smoking involved?
I assume Matt Barnes is high.
You're right. Okay, thank you.
I mean, it's just maybe that's an unfair assumption of Matt Barnes, but with the name of the podcast, and it just sort of seems that way.
No, good one from Depot. Jay Billis would serenade you with a Young Jeezy line. I gotta go to work.
Not a big Jay Billis guy.
Me neither. Me neither, Mike.
None of them are Myron Metcalf. I'll tell you that much. That guy could be my best man.
Man, really think about it. All the breaking news guys, all the tweet guys. I mean, me and Schaefer are basically just like, not for me.
Yeah.
Put them on the list.
I don't have any problem with Pete Thamel.
Okay. Pete tweets.
He's
seems
the
too robotic.
new college football breaking news guy. Like, he's the college football breaking news guy at this point.
Not for me.
I don't have any, like, I don't want it. I don't seek it out, but I don't have any problem with them.
Brian in Bellevue writes in on the text line, if I got married, you guys would be my greeters and Joey would be the DJ.
Okay. Joey'd be a good DJ.
I can do that.
I think you would have a pretty meticulously planned out set list for people to rock through.
Could you imagine the in-show graphics that Joey would have as a DJ? Like, the photos would be
That is
rolling
true.
in, and Joey
Yes.
would be turning them into graphics.
You would
throughout
have
the
to
night.
provide them with multiple computers. There's a music computer, the DJ board set up, whatever, the turntables, and then a Canva computer to do graphics.
I
on.
will show up to your wedding. Just don't let California Pizza Kitchen cater your wedding. As long as they don't cater your wedding, I'll be there.
I feel that California Pizza Kitchen had catered like very few weddings. I can't imagine that that's like a go-to.
I don't know.
wedding.
I don't know if they're in the biz.
I think we're
Do they
safe
even
as long
have
as the wedding
catering?
is. I think we're safe as long as we're doing the wedding in the Midwest because there's none in the Omaha metro. Thankfully,
Nick writes in on Twitter on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happenchafe. Matt would have Goodman be his best man. Yeah, he's got his tweet notifications on.
California Pizza Kitchen has catering service specifically for weddings, so I was wrong on
oh
that
no,
one.
disaster!
Signature pizzas like barbecue chicken are
Oh,
one of the options. We know
nasty.
that's Joey's favorite.
Barbecue chicken pizza. What?
Right?
They also
Yeah,
have
I'm with you.
salads,
Thank
pastas,
you.
appetizers.
I'm down for salads,
And
pastas,
dessert
and
trays.
appetizers.
If I go to
California Pizza Kitchen, actual pizza.
I'll go there. I'll
Yeah,
go there
I'm
for
fine
the
with
salad.
it, but the barbecue chicken pizza. I mean, come on, give me a break.
You're very chicken on pizza is a thing that gets you very.
I'm
fired
okay
up.
with chicken on pizza. Barbecue on barbecue chicken
what-
pizza.
like what
buffalo
chicken
chicken,
is-
pizza?
Like, what chicken on pizza are you okay
I
with?
don't know. Just put the chicken on there.
Don't flavor the chicken.
Just put chicken on. If
I
that's
want
your,
it dull and gray.
if that's your choice of meat, that's fine. Put it on there. Barbecue chicken pizza. It's not even pizza.
well,
Thank
is,
you.
is there any version of pizza with chicken on it that you consider pizza?
Well, like the regular pizza with like tomato sauce or whatever, and then
And
you
it's just like
you
smoked
just
chicken
put
thrown
chicken
out
on
there.
there. Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think I've ever had that before, and
I was going to say,
I don't know if that exists.
I want to meet
but
the dull, unflavored chicken pizza.
Yeah,
Look
definitely.
it right in the eyes and then eat it and tell
I
you.
prefer to have sausage,
Sure.
or
Yeah,
something
I mean,
normal.
chicken is not my go-to pizza.
Little follow up here from the texter on Matt Barnes. Matt Barnes, kind of a baseball guy. He doesn't always smoke. It depends on the guest. He is cool. All the smoke has a baseball specific part of its podcast profile. Honestly, he's better than some of the baseball guys. I'm gonna have to check this out.
Yeah, I will too. I like baseball. If Matt Barnes is a baseball guy, then I want to know more about it. And if he has Jeff Passan on, then he knows ball.
Speaking of baseball, and we're gonna get to Sean Bach in just a second, talk some Iowa football.
Some White Sox.
Congratulations to the Rugs.
Yeah.
The American Legion World Series champions out of Lincoln, Crimetown, Nebraska. They beat a team from Portland last night with a couple clutch pitching performances and late inning heroics and things like that. So they are Nebraska's first American Legion World Series title team in like the 100-year existence of this event. Since 1939, the Omaha McDevitt,
Like 87 years.
from Creighton Prep, won the American Legion World Series. So yeah, this event has been going on for 99 years, and Nebraska has now won it twice for the second time.
This is really awesome.
I mean, this is crazy.
They erased a 5-run deficit with 2 3-run homers to come back and win this thing. They never lost a game in this format.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Like just outstanding work all the way around.
And the tough part about this is, like, so they went 55-7 this summer. the like, you don't know what kind of competition they're going up against. Like, I wonder if, when they come back and you ask them, like, what was it like playing against the Nebraska teams in the area tournament or in the state tournament? Like, how hard was it to get out of that compared to the regional tournament or even the national tournament? Because you just don't know what you're sort of going to end up with. But I remember it used to be like, when I was in high school, it was kind of this foreign thing of like, oh, Legion, and send a couple teams to the World Series every once in a while. A team goes to the regional tournament every year, the state champion of the state of Nebraska. And now it's happened, as we said yesterday, I want to say probably, I don't know, more than a handful of times in the last 10, 15 years. And Lincoln East has been a representative in the World Series a couple of times, the Carpetland Rugs. And they finally got the job done last night. Excellent job by them.
Yeah, it's just a tremendous win for them and awesome overall for baseball in Nebraska, which I've said this before, and I know you agree, but it's a sport that I don't think people realize how much talent can be produced here that goes on to have success throughout the college baseball landscape.
Yep. So remember seeing last night the oh gosh, I keep falling short on this information here. The player of the tournament. No.
I do not have the information for this to help you, unfortunately.
Okay. Brody McIntyre was the player of the American Legion World Series for Lincoln East. So congratulations. And once again, how about Carpetland just getting the most out of their advertising dollar?
Again,
incredible stuff.
Just a ton of Carpetland talk over the days.
In a ton of Carpetland talk. So congratulations to Lincoln East, one of the best programs and probably the now gold standard, I suppose, of baseball programs in the
It does feel that way
in the state of Nebraska.
Did they win the high school title as well?
They did not. They were the runner-up in the spring. Yeah, and then rosters change and stuff like that, but they were the runner-up in the spring.
Well,
I think Millard North won.
And obviously, there's a difference with not everybody plays Legion. Some guys have other things that they play or whatever else. So
correct. All right, so nice job, way to represent the state for the fellows from Lincoln East. Now come back home and start school tomorrow. Good luck. Sorry. Have fun. Be back with Sean Bach after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we have a variety of topics to get to with our next guest. Sean Bach from Hawkeye Insider, Iowa 24/7, joins us now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Hi, Sean. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good morning, guys. Thank you for having me on. I didn't stay up too late last night for the ending of the Cubs White Sox game, so I feel pretty rested. But if I had stayed up, I think I would be in a worse mood.
Bad deal. Well, we work with a guy who can't decide whether he's a Cubs or a White Sox fan.
Oh my God, I don't throw up. That's disgusting. That is insane.
He's gonna be so mad if he
He's gonna
heard
be
this.
so mad that I said that because they'll say like, "Oh no, I'm a Cubbies guy. I'm a Cubbies guy." But you are a true White Sox fan. This season is a true, like, I'm sure has been a complete surprise and a true pleasure for you to experience up until probably the last 2 days.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it helps that the AL Central is not where it is compared, or not where other divisions are, especially the National League. But hey, I mean, I'm not going to complain who we play on, or who's in our division, who we play and whatnot. But yeah, the last 2 games have not been fun, and it's like you could just feel it coming too, especially with how the pitching has kind of struggled and where things are at with depth wise. I mean, the pitching wasn't bad yesterday outside of Hudson in the first inning. Like Fetty was awesome, but like you can just kind of feel like the Cubs have a certain edge in these types of games at Wrigley, and they hit really well at Wrigley. They've been really hot. I think they're like 35-10, or it's not 30. It's like 35-10 this year when they hit 2 home runs, and what do you know, 2 home runs right in the first inning too. So yeah, it's been a frustrating last couple of games, but at least they swept Detroit in Detroit. That was definitely big, and getting one today against on the north side would be a nice boost too.
What's your level of annoyance with P. Crow Armstrong these days?
It's high. It is high. It is very high. I was talking to a couple people yesterday, a couple of my buddies, and I was like, I think P. Crow Armstrong is probably the most annoying Cubs player since, I mean, like, no, I don't want, like, annoying, like, he's the most annoying for sure, I think, in my generation, or like my, growing up, around Chicago. But like from a hate perspective, I mean, it's hard to top Carlos Zambrano and Michael Barrett.
Nice.
Like Pete Crow Armstrong is the most hateful and probably annoying guy too. And just, I mean, I'm not going to get into it too much, but just kind of the way he goes about it. Like he's passionate.
He's very passionate. Yes.
Yeah. But he rubs the wrong way.
Oh yeah.
And he doesn't believe in Babe Ruth.
I can see. Yeah, that's right.
Yes, that was crazy too.
All right, let's talk some Iowa here. So we here on this show are pretty. I would say I am endlessly interested in this Iowa quarterback battle that we have in front of us right now, and we had a big sort of seminal moment on Saturday at the open scrimmage, where Jeremy Hecklinski absolutely lit it up and Hank Brown was terrible. And then I saw a lot of the conversation coming out of it afterwards and what Kirk Ferentz said about it. Like, where do we stand right now in this quarterback battle, which seems like it's going one way, but they're certainly not tipping their hand, at least publicly at this moment.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, because we haven't really had, I mean, ever since I've been covering Iowa since 2018, and there's never really been a quarterback battle, or like there's never really been a question mark of who is going to be starting quarterback coming into the season. Although a lot of people will tell you that the backup quarterback has been the favorite Iowa quarterback the last couple of years. And I mean, I know that's the case everywhere, but it's kind of the case here, because I think a lot of people had thought, or like behind the scenes had kind of seen that Hank Brown was maybe having a slight edge for a bit, because he was, your more consistent quarterback, guy who didn't really make mistakes, did what he was asked of him, like a game manager. While Jeremy Hecklinski is more that kind of, boomer bust type quarterback where, he makes the fun plays off platform. He throws the ball at different arm angles. He gets his receivers open, throws them open, and, can kind of do a little bit more, and kind of provides that more, boom aspect, like I mentioned. But, there's also a concern with his turnovers. Like, could it be a guy that throws, multiple turnovers per game? And I mean, I know it doesn't really get as bad as like Iowa has had in the last couple of years, but I do think there is a valid concern with that and, how he was able to manage things. And it sounds like, that was the best practice that Hecklinski has had all fall. And Brown on the other end, that was probably the worst practice that he's had all fall and the worst practice in a while. And of course, it's the practice where, media and fans are going to be able to be there. And it's like everyone can make these narratives from it. But, it sounds like it's pretty close. But I'm really interested to see if, Hecklinski can, take that practice and really run with things and end up being the guy because, man, it was like a night and day difference. And, you don't want to take too much stock from that practice. And that's what Kirk Ferentz said too is, it's hard to, you don't want to be a very reactionary and, just take everything from that practice because it's a long fall camp. But, with that, it's like, you start to think a little bit like how, is it like, it's not like that every practice, but it's like, man, the really good with Hecklinski is really freaking good. And Iowa just hasn't had that. I'm really interested to see what kind of the bad is with that.
I'm interested. How much does the offense change from last year where you have Mark Gronowski, who is a touchdown machine inside the red zone as a runner to these two quarterbacks? And how much do you think Tim Lester's offense changes overall? I mean, he's in his third year with Iowa. 24 was sort of a disaster offensively, but 25 with Gronowski, things looked a lot better. Now he gets an entirely different group of quarterbacks to work with yet again.
Yeah, I think you have two better passers than Gronowski maybe was in Iowa's system. I mean, I think Mark Gronowski is still a really good passer, but I think, with the offense, it took him really some time. I mean, Nebraska fans will tell you, like, he kind of looked like one of the best passers in the regular season finale, the Black Friday game. But, it wasn't really like that until later in the season. Like, he had some good drives against Michigan State too, but his legs were really a big part of the reason, if not the reason, Iowa's offense really improved last year because you have a guy who can run between the tackles, really make plays in the red zone. And that was a really big part of Iowa's success last year on the offensive end was, having a guy like Gronowski in the red zone who can make those plays and be a big threat. And you also had an offensive line too that won the Joe Moore Award. So that is definitely a big boost. And I think this year's offensive line can be really good too. But from a passing perspective, I think the upside of this team is a lot higher than it's been in the last couple of years. And I know this is, Iowa fans have kind of heard this a lot, like the last couple of years, but, it really feels like these skill positions, the skill positions for Iowa, like the ceiling of this group is a lot higher than it's been in years past, and the depth is really good. Like you have 4 running backs with game experience who have produced, and I think South Dakota transfer LJ Phillips is, kind of the X factor in that room, and he's a guy that's, really tough to bring down, kind of brings you back to, some of those other Iowa running backs who have been really hard to bring down, like LaShawn Daniels, and a few other guys that come to mind. But, and wide receiver too, I mean, there's been a lot of hype about Tony Diaz, Reese Andersey, if he can stay healthy. And then Evan James, a transfer from Furman that they brought in, is a real speedster. And then at tight end too, you have DJ Vanami, and then Thomas Meyer, who is another really highly sought after recruit, and then Anderson Estrego who comes back. And I just think from a passing perspective, there's a lot more tools there that you can work with from last year. But, and I think too, like, I think there's just more understanding of the system too with Hecklinski and Brown, because you have to remember as well, this is like the first spring and fall camp where Iowa has had a fully healthy quarterback in Tim Lester's tenure at Iowa, and had just like a whole spring too, because Cade McNamara struggled with those injuries. Mark Gronowski was obviously hurt, had that off-season surgery. So having those guys who have a really strong grasp of the system and have been able to work on the field, I think provides a really big plus for this Iowa offense, and maybe where things are at going into this year.
So that leads us back to the quarterback battle a little bit. I was thinking about this, and you touched on it a moment ago. Does the fact that practice happened so publicly and in front of everybody, does that change anything in the chemistry of this thing? Like, can Kirk Ferentz go back and, can he actually make Hank Brown the starter given what people saw with their own eyes on Saturday? Does that factor into this equation at all? Or is it just, Kirk Ferentz is going to do whatever he wants because he's been around forever and that's sort of how he's done it before?
Yeah, I do think it holds. I think it was interesting because Tim Lester's talked about how he wants to see how guys perform in Kinnick. And I
Yeah.
know that's not everything, but like the different settings, like you could be a practice merchant or, you could be a guy who performs well when the lights are on. And I think that's one narrative that a lot of people have started to run with a little bit is, Hank Brown really hasn't been great when the lights are on throughout his career. I mean, I know that Indiana game was almost an impossible spot to be in last year when he was thrown in on those last couple of drives when Mark Gronowski went down and Indiana ended up winning. But then, you look back at his Auburn career too. I know that it was kind of a mess down there. And I think that was Hugh Freeze's, or no, it wasn't his last, second to last year when Hank was in the quarterback battle down there too. And I think he threw like 3 interceptions against Arkansas. He had a good game against like a, non-conference opponent. And then, against Arkansas, he threw 3 interceptions and was benched. So, there kind of seems to be a little bit of a trend with Hank Brown, in some of these game settings. And, I know, like I said, it's not the end all be all because it's very limited. And, it's not like Jeremy Kaklinski has a lot of game experience too, but, you're starting to see some of these trends with how Hank has performed, in these certain settings and, compared to how Kaklinski played on Saturday. I mean, that was the best performance and it wasn't really even close from a quarterback that I've seen, during Kids Day at Iowa. And it's not, like I said, it's not everything, but I think it has to hold. Like the fan base is going to hold on to it, no doubt. And us in the media, like we're overreacting to it a little bit too. But I do think it holds a little weight. But yeah, I really don't know because it sounds like both quarterbacks have. It sounds like Hank Brown has really bounced back this week or has been better, and that's just a really tough spot to be, especially with all the people there. But yeah, I think it has to hold a little bit of weight, but I don't know how much it's going to hold. But I know Tim Lester, that's something that, he kind of has kept an eye on throughout, this process too.
So, Sean, we've spent a lot of time talking about the offense. You've covered Iowa for a little while now. You're certainly familiar with the program. Do you just have a level of confidence with Phil Parker and with Iowa's defense that regardless of who needs to be replaced, they can just do it? So is that why, do you just find yourself gravitating more towards the questions on offense because regardless of who steps in on defense, it's still a Phil Parker Iowa defense?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me this because, I mean, it's kind of what's been brought up throughout, this fall. And I know a lot of people are talking about the quarterback battle, but with defense, like I think about some of those defenses in the early 2020s or in, the last couple of years outside of last year where you kind of think to yourself, like, man, this is going to be Iowa's offense, or this is going to be like their best way of scoring the football or, making plays or putting their special teams in a good spot to score because, the offense was so putrid. But with this defense, I mean, you started to see maybe some of the holes that they had last year at times, especially in that game against Rutgers where they really I know Rutgers had a pretty good passing attack last year, but, man, they were getting carved up. But then again, some of those adjustments that they made in the second half, like it kind of felt like Iowa's defense was a team of two halves throughout last year. And, there were definitely some holes in the secondary, I thought, and, obviously injuries. And I think linebacker play was maybe a little bit of a concern because the defensive line was really good, but there were definitely some holes in the linebacker unit with having to replace a bunch of guys like Jay Higgins and Nick Jackson. But this year, I think the secondary is going to be, really rock solid. Like I think the secondary will be probably the strength of the defense. Linebackers should be decent. I think Jay Montgomery will fit really well at the will. Cam Buffington at the mic. Those are two guys that I think, are going to be a pretty good unit, and not necessarily the level of Higgins and Jackson, but I think they'll be, a lot better in that area. But defensive line is where the big, the question marks lie. And I think a lot of that is, obviously they have to replace a bunch of dudes who have a lot of experience. But I think that defensive line, if it can be manageable in the linebackers and, be able to kind of, fill those gaps and, be able to, let the linebackers make their plays and, not really just get ran over, I think this defense can be really good. But I don't know if it's going to be as elite as we've seen the last couple of years. I think it could be a top 25 defense for sure. But that defensive line is definitely one of the one of the big question marks with this group, because you have to replace a lot, and it's not like a lot of these guys that are on the unit now have a ton of experience. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good unit, but I'm just like, I'm a little eerie of if it's going to be that elite type that, we've kind of grown accustomed to.
Tons of interesting questions with Iowa. You could check out Sean's coverage of the Hawkeyes at HawkeyeInsider.com. Sean, we appreciate you stepping by. We'll do this again soon.
Yeah, sounds good, guys. Thank you for having me as always. Go Sox.
Sean Bach from Hawkeye Insider. Go Sox. He's talking about the White Sox for the record. We'll take a quick break. We got to get back for Joey's headlines after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, thanks to Sean for joining the show. We left a couple things on the cutting room floor there, too. A lot more to talk about with Iowa. Interesting team this year. But before we talk about Nebraska, whatever, let's get to more of Joey's headlines. Joey, what do we got?
Speaking the Big Ten schools, Penn State fraught pledges forced to cut and bag cocaine for college drug ring, authorities say.
Whoa. Okay.
Is there a chance we're going to click on the second story? I am in.
I would like to hear the headline at least, but probably minimal chances. So go ahead, Joey. Tell us the second one.
Second one's couple initially told to pay cancellation fee for cable internet after wildfire destroys home.
I mean, on a normal day, I think I'd be interested in that story,
Sure.
but it's really similar to what it was yesterday,
Yeah.
where it's like the lady got a parking ticket even though she died.
Agreed.
But yeah,
She didn't actually die.
well, she died briefly and then came back to life. Right.
Then
My
have
question.
to pay $30.
Penn State frat pledges forced to cut and bag cocaine for college drug ring, authorities say. Penn State fraternities pledges were made to cut and package cocaine for a drug ring that was run out of 2 off-campus frat houses, authorities said. The illicit initiation was revealed Monday as Pennsylvania Attorney General Dave Sunday charged 14 people, including 13 current or former Penn State students, in connection with the alleged drug ring. The man accused of leading the operation, 24-year-old Agostino Abatiello, surrendered on Tuesday after failing to appear for a scheduled arraignment on Monday on charges including possession with intent to deliver and conspiracy. He was ordered jail without bail. A message seeking comment was left for his lawyer. According to the court documents, the drug ring operated in 23 and 24, fueled by bulk quantities of cocaine that 2 of the charged men obtained from contacts in Philadelphia and New York. They cut and bagged the drugs, mainly at the Sigma Chi and Delta Upsilon fraternity houses, using frat brothers and pledges as labor, then distributed it through Penn State students, court documents said. One of the men said a co-defendant was the largest distributor of cocaine at Penn State and would boast about how much money he was making from selling cocaine. At least 4 of the defendants are current students. The Attorney General's office said, "This is very serious criminal conduct. There was nothing junior or childlike about this type of conduct." Sunday said at a news conference on Monday. It's confusing because the guy's name is Sunday. This was an upper-level trafficking organization for this region in Pennsylvania. Basically, the coke ring, the drug ring, was using frats as labor, and they were doing it willingly.
Yeah, well, I
It's
assume
quite
there was
the-
a financial,
Yes.
restitution or whatever that was made there.
Quite the scandal.
I have to admit something, and maybe this would be better for accountability, but I'll admit it here. Since the name Dave Sunday popped up, I started thinking about how many last names of weekdays there would be, and I think it'd be Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't believe there'd be any other.
Never heard of a guy named Tuesday?
Never heard of a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, or a Friday.
I've heard
Friday.
of a guy
There's a
named
Friday.
I think I've heard of a person named Tuesday before.
Really?
I couldn't name them, but
I feel
that
convinced
sounds like
Wednesday,
a name.
Thursday are no.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Friday is a yes. There's
We've
last
heard
name
Saturday,
Friday.
obviously.
Yep.
I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are the hardest to
Yeah.
get a name out of.
Never heard of a guy named like Michael Tuesday?
I don't know a Michael Tuesday. I don't know a Scott Thursday. And I certainly don't know a Wayne Wednesday.
I know a Jeff Saturday. I know this guy Sunday, and like
Yeah,
Rick,
Jeff Saturday is the only Saturday.
I know
that
Rick Monday.
Rick Monday is the only Monday I could think
Yeah,
of. Too.
I know I got Tuesday. If somebody could come up with a guy's name Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, that'd be good. We could have a whole week of guys.
We would offer them, some sort of reward if they can come up with a real person with that last name.
So this was the other part of the story that I saw in another place yesterday, because I did see this. Apparently, they were calling one of the people who was like cutting and bagging the cocaine Pablo Pledge Scabar.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Quite the name.
The frats have gone far too far, I think, at this exact moment. So there you go. That's a That's a headline among many headlines today in the news. We'll come back. 8 o'clock hour is up after this on 1620 The Zone. Terry writes in on the Penn State story. Hi, guys. From Penn State to State Penn. Bop.
You get that one a lot. It's a message board favorite, calling it State Penn instead of Penn State.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do they still call Nebraska Nubs?
Nebby.
Nebby? It's one of the stupidest things that I could possibly imagine.
Like they would call Omaha UNO Neb Oma on the scoreboard, so I would call Lincoln Neb Link.
Oh, you did? Did you do that on message boards? Were you trying to?
No, I didn't, but I think I did that when I was working at UNO.
Oh, little shade at Neb Link.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But people on message boards have, for whatever reason, their own language,
Yeah, there's fexes.
and sometimes it, just gets out into society.
It's-
Unfortunately,
It shouldn't. It really should. It shouldn't even get to the message boards.
the one I have adopted one over the
Okay.
years. Meat chicken.
Yeah, that's,
I like that one.
I think
I like calling Michigan meat chicken.
there's meat chicken. There's misery. The
Yep, Misery.
longhorns.
Yep.
Like I said, fexes.
Yep.
There's Iowa where they take the W out.
Awa.
There's other ones.
What do they call Iowa?
Like it's just I-O and then they don't type the W and then A.
That is stupid.
Yep.
Is that?
The Brian Balagas line.
Should we do a power ranking with tiers of this? Or,
They're all in bottom tier for
they're
me.
all
Like,
terrible.
Yeah, I
Right,
wouldn't
now,
be a great
have you
person for it.
adopted Creighton? Crayton.
I like
Or
when
Creighton.
other people do it, but I don't.
I don't
do it
understand
myself.
It doesn't make any
or
sense.
Creighton when people don't use the T when saying it.
Okay, that's just Matt.
Or just like
No,
Cretin,
there's
where it's like
multiple people.
Cretin.
Cretin.
You get that one sometimes.
The most popular one that I've seen is Crayton, and
Yeah.
it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are they doing this? Let's purposefully spell it incorrectly.
You can't I can't begin to understand it. I mean, I really can't. Like just-
Sith Destroyer says Creighton, Crayton is the correct spelling. What are you guys talking about?
so yeah, I mean that's just the common thing with that.
Okay. We love if anybody else has any message board references that
Trying
they
to
want
think
to
of the
toss our
other
way,
ones.
let us know.
There's obviously other ones out there for different teams. I just can't. I'm blanking on it. The Puffs for the last couple years, whenever Nebraska was playing Colorado, is the Puffs, not the Buffs.
Puffs.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's one of them.
Usually they get pretty vulgar for Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay.
Texas,
I would imagine the Colorado ones get pretty vulgar toward Nebraska too.
probably. Probably.
A lot of references to things.
It's gonna be a fascinating year for Colorado football yet again. Just because I assume this is the last year of Deion Sanders. So I thought that last year too, and he did come back.
Is there anything that we call Kansas on the message boards?
Not really.
Wow. What's up with that?
I mean, it's K sucks for K State.
K sucks.
Yeah.
That is very creative.
Yeah. No, these usually meat chicken might be as creative as it gets. Like you're not looking to win awards with creativity here.
Text from the 402. I remember this. Jarrell Creighton, Bellevue East basketball legend during your time. I remember Jarrell Creighton. I think we were the same age. Bellevue East guy, big guy. He did spell it Crayton.
I got one.
Fred King big?
Yeah, I mean, he was tall. I don't know how, I guess he was tall compared to the other
Sure.
not so tall guys.
He was
probably.
Nebraska high
King,
school.
who gives a big smile back to the bench.
Yeah, Jarrell Creighton was giving big smiles. That is until the state championship game.
Man, I want to.
I do have one for Bowling Green from my family because they're from Ohio. BGSU is their acronym. BGSUCK.
I didn't know that they were talking smack on Bowling Green.
I guess
this is incredible.
I guess that was that's a
Wow.
Toledo thing because Toledo and Bowling Green's a heated MAC rivalry.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know there
So
was
it
hate
was-
in the
Where's
MAC.
Bowling Green? Where are they actually?
They are in the northwest portion of Ohio. They're
Okay.
just south of Toledo along I-75.
I always just assumed
I
Bowling
thought they
Green
were
was in Kentucky. Same.
No, Bowling Green's in Ohio. Bowling Green, Kentucky is where Western Kentucky University is at. There is
Got
Bowling
it.
Green, Ohio in the northwest.
That's a
area.
different place.
Yeah, I just assumed it was near Kentucky.
Wow.
Like I always just assumed Bowling Green was outside of Cincinnati, but in the Ohio portion.
That
of
is exactly what I always
not the
thought.
Kentucky portion of it. Oh, you're learning. I'm learning here. Today,
Where is
I
Bowling
guess.
Green State University? City of Bowling Green in Northwest Ohio.
Joey's all over it. It's just south of Toledo,
Not at all what I would
which
have thought.
famously has the interstates of 280, 475, and 75 running through it.
Wow, we basically just did a mini city. Of the
Looks
day
like
right
90.
there. Right outside of Toledo. Imagine being
Bowling Green has none of those, but Toledo does.
Imagine being a suburb of Toledo. That'd be a disaster.
It's far enough away that it couldn't be a suburb. Perrysburg looks like it's the suburb of Toledo.
Imagine being in Perrysburg.
I can't.
That would be awful. That'd be awful. Let's see. Alex in Omaha says, my buddy who hates Creighton spells it like Creighton, meaning Creighton or something. It's supposed to be derogatory, but it's lazy at this point. Alex in Omaha. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that.
Bowling Green, Kentucky is where the Corvette assembly plant is.
That's pretty cool.
One of the listeners tells us.
That's your ammo for when Nebraska plays Bowling Green instead of Tennessee in a couple weeks.
Just everyone shows up in
Hooray!
Corvettes.
Yeah, they're like, Corvettes suck. Remember when the Corvette was cool? I remember the 90s too.
Well, that was Bowling Green, Kentucky, though. So this is that's
not Bowling
confusion.
Green, Ohio.
Very confusing.
Maybe when we play Western Kentucky again.
Nobody
That'll be a
writes
thing.
in. Triggering
Next
Creighton
year?
fans is such low-hanging
Down the
fruit
schedule?
that I don't
No.
even bother with it anymore unless they choke in spectacular fashion in the NCAA tournament.
Hmm.
Creighton fans easily triggered, apparently.
Is that true?
I don't know. I couldn't speak to it. I'm easily triggered.
Yeah, I would say that you, but I don't think of you as a Creighton fan. I think of you as a Creighton employee.
I would probably double as a Creighton fan.
Well, sure. I mean, it sort of works in hand.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Nebbers on yesterday. They had football practice. Sam McEwen's going to join us in a little bit. A lot of talk about offensive and defensive line, and a lot of talk about Gunnar Gatula,
Yeah.
whose stock has risen.
Been
during
slowly
fall
beating
camp.
that drum over the last few weeks.
Seems like he's going to start.
Yeah.
at right
It
tackle.
seems like he's having a hell of a camp, just from what people have been saying, from what I've heard from some of the practices, everything else. And then you had Jeep Wade actually get up and talk about him yesterday and basically said as much. So that's a guy that, regardless of whether he's starting at right tackle or not, he's going to be playing this year. There's no doubt.
The question is, I think, what you value more if you're Jeep Wade, or if you're the person who's making this decision, Jeep Wade, Dana Holgerson, Matt Rule, whatever, however you want it to look. Do you value Gunnar Gatula is his value more as the starting right tackle permanent, or is it as the first backup for everybody? Because that's what he would be if he wasn't the starting right tackle.
I think there's a world where he can be your starting right tackle, but if you have another injury, he slides over and Babalade slides up.
I
So
agree. I think you
it's
can get both.
I think his value is still huge because he can play these different positions. Now, Brendan Black, it was talked about, has been taking some snaps at center too. So if something were to happen to Justin Evans, then you could have Brendan Black slide over to center, and then you have Gatula at guard and Babalade at tackle. The nice thing is here, if you're Nebraska, you have options. And then beyond that, there's Tyler Kanak. And then the other name, and I mentioned him on the rundown because I think it's kind of important. Gibson Pyle was a guy who was making some waves last year before he got hurt. He's another guy. It seems like if you were looking for who the next offensive lineman is behind Gatula, Babalade, Tyler Kanak, it would be it'd be Gibson Pyle.
So Jeep Wade said yesterday that they were, and this is always optimistic coach speak, I guess, around this time of year, like they want to play 8 guys.
They want 8.
They want 8. And so in your head, you're doing the math on who the 8 is. We know who 6 of them are right off the top of our heads. It's each of the starting 5, as we've talked about plenty before: Pritchett, Mubanga, Evans, Black, and then probably Gatula at this point. Babalade being the 6th. And then Kanak, I think we all believe to be the 7th.
Yep.
Because he's experienced. By the way, each one of those guys, I brought this up on Mitch and I's podcast today. Each of those 7 guys are at least 4th-year players.
Yeah. No, they have a veteran offensive line.
And then there is who the 8th would be, which it sounds like the guy who did you just mention?
Gibson Pyle.
Gibson Pyle is coming along a little bit. And then there's like a Sam Sledge, there's a Grant Bricks, there's some guys from a little bit further down the line. But you don't have to depend on any of them right now because you're so comfortable with these experienced guys. And there are 7 guys who have started I mean, have each of these guys started more than a season's worth of games? Gatula has at this point.
I don't know if he has a full season's worth because
But not
he was
like-
banged up, but over
not like one,
yeah.
not like one consecutively,
but
but
between his career,
at
he
least
has
12.
at least 12 starts. That sounds right.
I think Canuck probably is in that same range as a fifth-year guy.
At least.
I mean, I could look
at
it up
least
on the
half
media
of that at
guide.
6, yeah.
I could look it up on because they had it on the media guide, right? Coming out this year. But I mean, there's like 60 starts in there. There's more than 60 starts.
Yeah. I think, obviously between Pritchett through Mabenga, you have a ton of experience there. And then between Babalade and Gatula, you have guys that have been part-time starters, occasionally full-time starters, have dealt with some health stuff. So you have a lot of experience to work with. So there shouldn't be that much in terms of questions of what you can kind of get out of these guys. And that's where some of the optimism comes from.
Yep. We get at this from the text line. John writes in, Corcoran was a sixth-year player.
Sure. He was also hurt about half of that time. And so
is Gunnar Gatula, to be
right.
fair.
Now, Gunnar Gatula missed all of spring. And so when he's been hurt, it's been more during the off season and has played hurt during the season. But yeah, I mean, look, there's people, and Gunnar Gatula was bad last year. Like, I'm not gonna try to sell you that he was outstanding, but he was impressive in 2024 when he was a redshirt freshman stepping in at left tackle and played it better than I think anyone really expected him to. So I am not writing off Gunnar Gatula based on last year's performance alone, because I want to see at right tackle.
I'm not either. I like Gatula, yeah.
If right tackle is a better fit for him than left tackle, I think that's a good step. And then I think guard ultimately is his best fit. I think you're getting right tackle because, again, Nebraska has had such a tough time getting tackles to actually play tackle. They go out and you get guys like Grant Bricks and all of these other players where their best position is guard, and then they have to play tackle.
So what do you want to happen then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what I would want to happen is that one of Babalade or Gatula is clearly better than the other, and you just go forward with that.
Even if it's Gatula and he's playing tackle?
Yeah, if he's better than Babalade, you want your best 5 out there. So even if he's a better player at guard, but he can still handle tackle better than Babalade could, that's better for you overall. So, but then if there's an injury at guard or at center.
What if it's negligible? Like what if it's Gatula versus Babalade and they just say, okay, well, Babalade is going to he projects to be a tackle. We like Gatula more inside.
Yeah, that might be.
And so he rotates with one of the inside guys.
I think if it's close to negligible, it could end up in being a rotation thing where it's like, all right, Babalade starts, gets the first 3 possessions, then 2 for Gatula, then 3, So there's a lot of different ways that they can go after it. So but I think the important thing here is they feel pretty good about 7 of their offensive linemen, and I think Gibson piles the 8th.
Text from the 616. This is true. 0 news about T. Canuck. Yeah, I haven't heard not a single thing. I just assumed that he was the 7th.
Yeah, I do too.
Because of his experience.
Right.
So speaking of experience, I do have this. We'll have to. They're in alphabetical. Well, they're in some sort of order that I can't exactly figure out on this sheet here. So stick with me. Pritchett. This is where your math comes in handy.
Okay.
21 starts.
Okay.
Justin Evans, 31 starts. Okay. Brendan Black, 30 starts.
So we're at 82 starts.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good start, if you will. Gunnar Gatula, 16 starts.
Okay.
Tree Babalade, 15 starts.
So we're at 113 starts.
Paul Mabenga, 11 starts.
So he has the least amount of starts. We're at 124 starts out of those.
124 starts and 6 guys, and those are your primary offensive linemen this year.
Pretty good.
That's a lot. I mean, that's a ton.
No, this is what I mean. Like, this is a really experienced offensive line. The crazy thing is Mabenga is a guy that I think they were most excited to add for the offense, regardless of position. And he only has 11 starts. And it's a guy that is a checkered 11 starts. I mean, I don't think it's like he was
it's a little bit everywhere. Yeah.
But I think the idea is his skill set with Jeep Wade, with how they maybe want to change things up and run the football, I think could work really well. I mean, Jeep Wade talked about his philosophy a little bit yesterday when asked about it, and he had a quote that I mean,
go ahead.
This is basically, to me, this is what you want. I want them to run off the ball, and I want them to play violent with our hands. If you give them 17,000 things to think of, they're not going to do that.
So
So basically, streamline it down to, if this is a philosophy, hey, go hard, go fast, go physical. Everything else falls in place.
my devil's advocate to that is I don't think I've ever experienced a new coach at Nebraska who the word on them has been they're going to come in and make things more complicated.
Sure.
You know what I
Everything's
mean?
about
Like,
streamlining. Everything's about efficiency.
So I mean, I'm in on Orich and I'm in on Jeep Wade. Like, those guys seem like hits. We'll see what happens during the season. But when you hear like they came in and really made things easy for me and simplified things, that has always been the case for everyone ever.
It is,
you know,
in the follow-up, but what happens sometimes
because we're going to
is-
play downhill, we're going to
Yeah.
play fast, we're going to play aggressive, we're going to be out there, we're not going to be thinking, we're just going to be hitting and striking and playing football. You know?
It usually stems off of what occurred before it, though. Like, this was a big thing in the Bill Callahan era, that the verbiage was too long.
Absolutely.
And some of
it was that way with Butler's defense last year.
Yeah, and some of the complaints, with Eric Shenander would be that there was too many checks. So when Bill Bush came in, the idea was that they were going to play base more and you were just going to react to stuff.
Yeah.
So some of it is just you're going off of what was before you. Now, I kind of doubt that Donovan Raiola had a 17,000 checklist that needed to be done. If anything, it seemed like it'd be 3. Like, if you would have told me that Donovan Raiola was C-man, hit man, knock man over, I'd believe that.
So from the perspective of the players, they're looking for it to be simple and more digestible and all this stuff. I think what we're talking about is from the perspective of the coaches. When new coaches come in, we have to figure out what their threshold of trust is for when they put guys out there.
Yeah.
Right. Like it. And in my opinion, I want that to be low. I do not want that to be high, because if it's too high,
Too much of a barrier.
It's too much of a barrier. And then all of a sudden we're talking about 3 guys being out there and guys getting hurt with like all these different things. I would rather a coach come in and say, yeah, we're going to throw you out there. We're going to see what happens. And it is at that point at which you find your best guys.
Sure.
Now, and Nebraska has a little bit of a leg up this year because they have 3 really easy games right off the bat, and you can mix some guys in, and you can figure out how they play under the lights. Think about our conversation that we were having last hour with Sean Bach about the quarterback situation at Iowa. Like, why in the world would Kirk Ferentz take the guy who clearly sucks more than the guy who, because they trust him more?
Sure.
Right? It's about trust. Even though
Well, it's always about practice too. If a guy shows up, like if Hank Brown had 9 out of 10 great practices and the one was terrible, but it happened to be in front of everybody, like, that makes it difficult.
it does.
They're
And
terrible.
I don't know. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't.
I have no idea if it did.
but-
I'm just
but-
saying it as an example.
It's the trust threshold. Coaches sometimes have too high of thresholds of trust.
Yeah.
And I do think, like, one of the things that Orich is bringing to the table seems to be the willingness to say, yeah, we're going to mix some things up here. It's a fresh slate, and we get a whole bunch of new people on this defense, and so we're gonna have that. And yeah, those guys will become the guys. And it's similar along the offensive line, except for the main difference being what we talked about. There's 120 starts there.
Yeah. It's a lot harder to move your way into it because they've already kind of proven.
But if it's easier for those guys who have made the 120 starts, then they can flourish and be
Well,
good.
and in theory, they gel faster because they're not having to try to do too much together. I mean, what you want is your offensive line moving as a unit. So it's easier to get there if there's less that you have to do overall. The Rob Arch thing is interesting because it takes me back to it. There's so many similarities with him and Tony White. And one of the big things in 23 that I think everybody sort of loved is that there was a really low threshold to get onto the field.
Yep.
Because it's like, hey, if you show us just something in practice, we'll figure out a way to get you on the field.
Look how it works.
And they played so many guys. And then you end up with, like, I know he transferred, but Mekhi Bayer was really good for them.
Yeah, the
With the
unfortunate
guy
part
who
is
showed up as a special teams guy in practice. And Tony White's like, I kind of want to see that at linebacker. Let's give him a play. Lo and behold, he makes a really nice tackle on, like, Dylan Edwards against Colorado, and off you go.
Prince Will, Lenhart, all those guys, they played their freshman year in that year with Tony White.
Right.
And it was like, where'd these guys come from? And they ended up being players.
Yeah, I remember
two out of the three of them
participation.
transferred, but
Like the participation list from Minnesota and Colorado,
Yeah.
which two dramatically different games. One you're close throughout, the other you kind of got blown out. Like just enormous
play
because they
guys.
just wanted to get guys in. And that's sometimes the easiest way to figure out what you have.
Yep.
It's like, all right,
100%.
there's a lot of guys in the same range. We're going to see what they look like with the lights on.
Yep.
Yeah. And at the same time, you have to be a good practice player too. Like
You have to earn the
there's
opportunity.
a lot of discussion about, oh, this guy's so much better when he just gets the opportunity and he's not much of a practice. And that's true. That exists. But it's a lot harder to prove it to anybody if you're not consistent in practice.
By the way, one quick thing before we get to Sam here. This is from Nick. Another abbreviation for Colorado. Scum with the C.
Oh, scum's a big one.
Yeah, I see that one a lot.
Scum, the scum puffs.
Scum puffs.
Yeah, you get the scum puffs out there.
Tiny baby buffs is what I've gone with to streamline it over the last couple of years. All right, I want to hear from you guys on that 402-951-1620. We can get into some special teams later on, but these are some of the topics that we're going to bring up with our next guest, Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. He joins the show right after this on 1620 The Zone. Just a minute or two shy of 8:30 on a Wednesday morning. Happer, Schaefer back with you on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network. We're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline by our good friend Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Hi, Sam. What's up?
How are you guys doing?
Awesome.
Pretty good.
We're counting down the days at this point. This is kind of, Schaefer and I were talking about it a little bit during the break. This is getting close to the worst part of like camp where, a lot of things have been decided and you're officially in countdown mode to game time.
Yeah, for sure. I got that vibe yesterday at practice, so we'll probably get that vibe again on Friday. Got the sense that guys were just, some of the players are like, yeah, locked in, trying to finish off camp well. You want to try to get everything sort of settled and squared away mentally before school starts on Monday. So they'll wrap it up, and then they'll probably start getting into. They'll have a little extended time for game prep. Wouldn't surprise me if they round into looking at Ohio next week. And so I think they've had a pretty good camp. They've stayed healthy, which I think was important, and I think they have a pretty good idea of who they want to be. Very good idea of who they want to be on offense. I think defensively, there's still spots up for grabs. Probably a starting spot at backer, 1 or 2 starting spots in the secondary, and rotational issues up front. Like who are the final guys going to be in those pieces?
So I saw this mentioned at all of the different places I went to see the coverage from yesterday's open period. Just how loud was Marcus Satterfield with his displeasure with whatever was happening with the tight ends? I saw this mentioned everywhere.
Loud. Like he was loud. Of course, the music is loud too. The loudest coach is Barthel, right? But Barthel keeps his teaching pretty succinct, and it's like he says kind of the same things over. He's like, there it is. Like he's coaching him. But Satterfield's more creative in some of the things that he said. So he's great. There's a little bit of a comic energy there, even though he's frustrated with his players. He knows exactly what he wants and what he was frustrated about. And this is, I got chewed out when I was in high school for the same thing, is giving the guy a bad look. And so when you're on the other side of it, you can't just
got to give him something.
Yeah. So this guy got driven like 27 yards off the ball, and he was just like, "What are you doing? Like, this is not what we're trying to accomplish here." And I think it was that the whistle got blown maybe a half second faster than the player thought or something. He wasn't ready. And so the look was not good. And it was, that was what he was mad about. And I totally understand it, because the reality is, in order to be the kind of team that you want to be, it doesn't really just take the starters. When you're in the camp setting, you have to create tension and adversity for all of your starters. So it has to be hard on the starting offensive line, for example. And for what it's worth, I actually think Nebraska's defensive group, the defensive line, has been that. I think they have physically improved. And I think especially Whittington is a challenge for the linemen in the sense that it's not like he's stronger than them, but he's able to get to a spot before they are. And so they have to come off the ball. And so what's been interesting to watch at times is just the challenge that he provides in I can't just catch this guy and have him out muscle him. He will beat me to a spot. And so I think it actually helps those linemen kind of get off the ball. Their defensive ends look good. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I don't know. But remember that what they're doing now is just different than what they were doing last year. So their defensive ends are working, either head up on tackles or outside eye. And that picture looks a lot better than being sort of in between a guard and a tackle, where you're in between, 800 pounds or 700 pounds or whatever. It looks better, and physically they're there. So what they've done with those guys is I think they've trimmed a few of them down, and a couple of them they bulked up a little bit, and so the ends actually look pretty physical. I thought yesterday they kind of got the better of the tackles, to be candid. Well, they got the better of Pritchett, and And Cam Lenhart looked good. Like that's the best that I've seen him look, either in a drill or in a game in a while. He was really good as a true freshman. I just don't know that he had the same level of whatever as a sophomore and a junior, and I think he looks really good this year. And Corey Brown said the same thing. I asked Corey Brown, well, who among the defensive ends impressed you? And he brought up Cam, which I thought was accurate.
So is Cam Lenhart like a guy that you think is really benefiting from different coaching in particular?
He probably is benefiting from Roy Manning because I think Manning's a good coach. I think he's probably benefiting even more from having a position that is not, like I said, positioned somewhere between a guard and a tackle. The 3-3-5 that they were running, and again, they weren't always running it. They were running 4-down stuff quite a bit. Sometimes the fourth guy was sort of an overhang, and he was, basically on the line of scrimmage, but he was in a 2-point stance. Sometimes they were actually running 4-man lines. But like when they're running the 3-3-5, where he was positioned and what he was being asked to do, I think it was tough at times. I think it's a challenging position to play, much like Riley Van Poppel, playing, I don't know, either a head up nose or playing between that guard and tackle is challenging. And now they're just playing, like a 5 technique. The ends are playing head up on guys. I'm candidly more of a 4-man line guy myself. I think you can have versatility in sizes. I think when you're running what Nebraska's been running, if you don't have a 335-pound
Nose
giant in the middle, it's hard. They actually had that for 2 years with Nash. So Nash was, I don't know that I would describe Nash as like super athletic, which is probably why he moved to guard in the NFL, but he was impossible to move.
Yeah, plug it up.
He was a boulder. And so you couldn't really move him. And Ty, it was hard to move Ty too, but Ty's pretty quick. So like he could make plays. And so those two guys were just huge for what Nebraska was doing. And then you had a guy like Bullock behind him. When all those guys left, they did not have the same components at those positions. Elijah Judy and Riley Van Poppel were just not, they just weren't the same players. And so I think in hindsight, again, I think Rule has dialed a lot of this back. We put a lot of it on John Butler. Rule has actually not done a lot with Butler even when he let him go. I think Rule understands, okay, like we should have done something different last year. Some of that's on Butler, some of that's on me, some of that's on the old defensive line coach. But the bottom line is we are wiping the slate clean. We're bringing in a guy who's going to run a defense that fits the personnel we have. And I do see that. I do see a group where it's like, okay, the personnel fits. And Jasir Whittington probably doesn't work that easily in a 3-4. But in this defense, you angle that guy toward a center and he gets underneath the center's pads. That guy can make plays. He is one of the smaller defensive linemen Nebraska's ever played, but he's not, he's still got some size and some strength to him. So I think they fit. We'll see what happens behind him. I think that's a question mark. And then we'll see. The secondary is a question mark. It is. We've got to see it happen. I know there's a lot of confidence back there, but the reality is that's a question mark, and they won't be able to answer it until they play the games.
Sam, I want to stick with up front for a second on the defensive side. So, every coach talks about how deep they want to go at various positions. How it looks to you, like how many guys are they going to be rolling through either at a defensive tackle spot or an edge spot? Is it the 4 at edge rotating between 2 spots and then 4 on the interior defensive spots, or is it more at either one of them?
I think you could have more at the edge with defensive end spot without too much of a sweat.
So it's Lenhart, Winery, Jones, and Petschak are the 4 that I'm thinking of.
Ochoa.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's got a chance out there too. And then I don't know what they intend to do with Willis McGahee, but he's out there. So I could see him coming in on 3rd down. And that's another guy that you could see moving at that position. Interior, I think you're looking at Whittington, Van Poppel, Stoudemire, Tyson Terry. I think Gabe Moore's going to play. I think Gabe Moore's got a good body and could play, but I guess we'll see.
Has Malcolm Simpson been involved much with anything that you've heard?
Well, yeah, he's in the drills. I'm just giving you the 5 guys that like I think, and then Berryman. They like Berryman. They do. But yeah, Malcolm Simpson's in all the drills, and I do think Tyson Terry's ahead of him.
Yeah,
I would say
that would track.
I think that, and I think Stoudemire's here, and he's old, and he's smart. He was smart yesterday. He played it kind of close to the vest, but he's a sharp guy. He's going to play. Whittington's going to play. Van Poppel's going to play. So, and here's the thing. Van Poppel could go to the NFL after this year. Stoudemire's done after this year. If you don't want to spend $1 million and $1.5 million to go out and go get these interior defensive linemen, then you need to develop from within, which means Malcolm Simpson is really valuable. He's just not necessarily a guy this year. It means that Tyson Terry and Dylan Merriman, who does have something, like he's a large guy, and I get a little less caught up in the weight thing than some other people do. If he can go in on a goal line situation and he can be an immovable rock, then put him in the game. He doesn't have to play 40 snaps. He can play 9, and that's all you need him for. It's different than basketball, where like in basketball, if you put a guy that has poor conditioning in for 5 minutes, he might get beat 7 times. In football, it's not quite like that. It's just not. It's he's in there for 3 plays and then you trot him off and then you put in another guy, and that's just how football is. So I do think they've got some heft in there. I think their ends are pretty good, and we'll see. But I think they're going to be above average against the run. Now, pass, I don't know. That's a good question. I think, obviously, Nwaneri needs to be the guy that's a great pass rusher. That should happen. I think they think Jones will be pretty good. Lenhart was good as a freshman, and then I think he just, he got slowed by injuries or whatever, and I think he looks better. And then Petschak was, he was a playmaker last year.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think, I think the question mark, and maybe I'm completely off, and I'd love to be off. I think the question mark's a little bit in the secondary. It's
That's
a little
fascinating.
bit. They're asking guys that haven't played that much football either at Nebraska or at all to do a lot, and and they're all kind of doing it for the first time with each other, which is not like Dwayne McDougal's never played with any of these guys.
Are you thinking more safety or corner?
I think all of it.
Okay.
Like so we'll see what kind of quarters defense they play. But let's just say, for argument's sake, they play the Mark Banker quarters, which was in 2015 and 2016. That's an off quarters defense, right? So like Banker, remember, he would play the guys off like 7-8 yards. And people remember this. It's like nobody wanted to run the ball against Nebraska that year because they had Malik and Vincent and I can't even remember, McMullen.
Yep, McMullen, yeah.
So nobody really wanted to run the ball. So they threw the ball like 40 times a game against Nebraska. And it was hard for those guys because like Kalu was at corner, and I can't remember who else was at corner. Ciante was gone by then, but those guys struggled to come up and make tackles. Like you could throw that quick throw out, and it was 7 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. Now they figured it out by the time they got in the bowl game against UCLA, and they, UCLA threw that one play like 94 times, and Nebraska figured it out. But early in the season, they were not good coverage wise. And so this defense is different. We'll see if they have the corners off. Remember, it's like these teams are not dumb. They're gonna throw the ball short. They're gonna make guys come up and tackle. I think Andrew Marshall will be great there. But the other side is a Florida International quarterback or cornerback, and Jeremiah Charles, who hasn't played that much in the last couple of years. And then at safety, I think they're going to be good there. But again, you got to be mindful of the fact that some of these guys are doing this for the first time with each other. So McDougal, okay, let's say it's McDougal and Benning. Well, they've never really played together. So like they're going to have to play together a little bit and figure it out. Or let's say it's Jameer Khan and McDougal. Well, they've never really played together. Khan's never really played safety that much. Like he's been at other positions. Let's say it's Khan and Benning. It's the same thing. Khan and Benning have played a little bit more together, but they need more time. Let's say it's Guthrie. I mean, you could have a bunch of guys back there, but they're all kind of figuring this stuff out on the fly. And so if I'm a defense, okay, if everybody's going to play off, then we'll run the ball to start. But then we're going to throw the ball out there, especially if your corners are giving us 4 or 5 yards cushion. And we're going to make the corners tackle you and tackle us. And we're going to try to attack that secondary. Will Ohio try to do that? I think so. I think it's likely that Ohio will try to do that. I think it's likely that the teams, as they go on during the season, and they play Indiana and Oregon, can those teams run the ball? They can't, but they can also throw the hell out of it. And so, like, I think there's a lot of different things that are in play. I think it's easier to set your front if you kind of know what you want to do and the guys know what they want to do. And then in the secondary, I think they're going to have to figure it out a little bit and play together a little bit.
Yeah.
Gain some chemistry. So this idea that's like, well, they're going to roll in 11 guys back there. Oh, well, that's fine. But, like, are you going to develop any chemistry if you're rotating guys every ninth snap? Probably not. Like, you got to let those guys kind of gel and run the defense together. And once they do that, I think they'll find their footing. But I don't expect it to be perfect.
Yeah.
Game one. I've said this many times. The offense needs to be good, guys, because it should be good because they paid for it to be good, and it needs to be good. So they should go score 45 in Ohio without much of a sweat. And if this is like, well, the defense didn't play very well, but Nebraska only scored 27 against Ohio, that's a problem because Nebraska's offense needs to score more than 27 against Ohio.
Definitely a delicate balance in the early season, that's for sure. Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Sam, we appreciate your coverage, and for you all who's taking the time for us. We'll talk to you next week.
Take care, man.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. Interesting stuff. Something to ruminate on.
That was a great conversation.
So we will take a break here. I do want to. People have been reaching out, as I've mentioned, about the golf tournament, and if you've signed up and want some more information, you should be receiving an email today from the golf course from Miracle Hills. So expect that to your inbox at some point today. That has all your information, where to be, what to do, all these different things. But 8:30 shotgun start, of course, on Friday. All of our shows will be out there in the vicinity. Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be at the Phoenix for the after party and the award show. We expect that you guys will get done about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and then we'll fire things up. Unsportsmanlike Conduct will be out at the Phoenix, so join us there. Breakfast burritos, we got you on Friday morning. I'm excited to be outside in the elements and do our show. We're taking our show on the road for the very first time.
It'll be a ton of fun.
Very
It'll be a
excited.
ton of fun. You know what else is fun? Looking up the 2015 secondary and remembering some of the names that he couldn't get to.
That is a fun
Daniel
segment.
Davey, Jonathan Rose, Byerson Cockrell,
Nice.
and Nate Gary.
I remember being pretty angry at Daniel Davey a lot that year.
Or Daniel Davey.
Back after this on 1620 The Zone. The 5K preseason plunder is still going, sponsored by Ad Consulting Group. Stock up on provisions. You can talk like a pirate. You know, you can do whatever you'd like. You can enter to win at 1620thezone.com if you are interested in 5K, which, I mean, come on.
And there's a week left for that, so get entered in.
You don't even have to hit a hole in one to win this 5K. You just put your name and your email and all that information in, and you're in.
That is
you got
true.
a chance.
That is true. To finish up the Husker conversation, so anything that caught your ear more than others about with the Sam conversation?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it, in part because I'm someone who's maybe a little bit more bullish on the secondary than I am other parts of the defense, while also acknowledging the point that he makes about the lack of continuity. It's really true. And then even with the spot opposite of Andrew Marshall, like if Andrew Marshall is the guy that you feel best about as it relates to,
I think that's most
the
people.
secondary. And I think he should. I think he's good. Everybody else, there is, other than maybe Donovan Jones, who's played quite a bit of football now. Everybody else, there's kind of a like, yeah, but with it.
Yep.
With Dwayne McDougal, who I feel good about, the yeah, but is okay. He hasn't played at the Big Ten level that much. And he hasn't played with these guys, so how quickly can he sort of assimilate with it?
Safety is an important position. For
and
that.
as we know, when Nebraska's defenses have been bad, and I mean like bad, safety is a big part of that. Whether it's bad in play action with eye discipline, whether it's horrendous run fits, usually safety is kind of what's shining there. So you need this to go well. Jameer Khan, having not played the position, but being one of those guys that everybody seems to recognize, like, okay, they like him a lot. They're going to try to find a way to get him in. Doesn't mean it's going to work. And then that corner opposite of Marshall, and this is the one that actually stood out the most when Sam was talking about it. We've talked about Jeremiah Charles for a while.
This is
he
the
hasn't
thing.
Played that much.
That's the thing that I most connected with him on. Like the conversation that the other corner like there's a thought that if you have one corner that you feel great about, or at least very good about, and I think most people would say that about Marshall. You know,
then the ball's going to the other.
The ball's going the other way, but people will be like, well, they have a lot of options and they'll figure it out. That's kind of what most people go to. And I'm like, okay, well, let's game it out real quick. You have Jeremiah Charles, who's really never played before.
Yeah, he's got one start, and it was a bad experience for him against UCLA.
You have Vic Evans, who comes in from Florida International.
Right, but hasn't played, obviously, at this level.
You have Odom.
Danny Odom, who has not played college football, period.
Yes.
You have Larry Tarver, who they like quite a bit,
Amari
and someone that's going to be coming
Sanders.
on. Amari Sanders, again, guys that they like but have not played that much.
Yeah.
So, like, when Sam said that, like, the light bulb for me was, okay, corner opposite of Marshall. You've got a lot of guys that you like but have not actually shown it to any level.
I do remember that 2015 season when I think Clayton Thorson threw the ball 55 times that year, and
he had the 28-yard touchdown run or whatever it was along the sidelines.
They were just
It
throwing
took
it.
about 4 minutes for him to run.
Nebraska couldn't do anything about it. They were just like, it was just 5 yards, 10 yards, 5 yards, 10, just every single time. And they were incredible against the run, partly because nobody ran against them.
Right. Why would you?
They had Vincent Valentine and Malik Collins.
Both of which got drafted.
Yeah.
People were like shocked that they left early and then were actually well regarded by the NFL.
Malik Collins still in the NFL.
Yep. Okay, so something else Sam said that kind of stood out is he talked about the continuity and sort of the chemistry of those guys having to play together. This is where the super soft, terrible schedule is a huge advantage for Nebraska. Is that you're going to get 3 opportunities for them to work together back there, be challenged by somebody that isn't your own offense, so you get a different look, and have to work through it.
Yep.
But also as the lowest stakes possible.
And you could try some guys out. We were talking about the trying guys out thing and all that stuff. Like there is a really delicate balance in those first 3 games of the season, even though the stakes are low because you should be up by 100.
You know, and then at the safety spot, that means you can get Rex Guthrie out there. It means if he's healthy, Caleb Benning can play a little bit more. You can mix and match, and you can give guys. And this is where, again, when we talked about the Tony White in 2023, where they played a bunch of players, you obviously expect that against the non-conference teams that you're expecting blowout wins against. But even then, it gives you a nice little runway going into that Michigan State game.
Yep.
And so
you can at least figure out
feel
who
better.
you are. All right, 402-951-1620. Want to hear from you guys? We'll be right back, 9 o'clock hour after this on 1620 The Zone.
Free balling now, I'm free balling now, I'm free balling now, I'm free balling now, I'm. It's time for free balling. where the producer reads questions on things happening in the world of sports. Connor and Mike will have the answers.
Well, we'll see about that. See if we have the answers. I'd have to hear the questions first. So let's hear them, Joey. What do we got?
Yes. San Diego Padres star Fernando Tatis hit 2 home runs in. Shut up, Schaefer. And Rob
You pronounced it wrong, Joey.
a grand slam in a Tuesday night win. What's the most aesthetically pleasing defensive play for you
Did you
in
see
sports?
I didn't actually see this.
So
last
he
night.
robs Francisco Lindor, Mr. Smile,
Yeah, Mr. Smile, not Fred
of
King.
a grand slam. He hits 2 home runs in the same game. Like, I think a home run robbery is up there for across all of sports. One of the coolest, most aesthetically pleasing defensive plays.
That's pretty good. And depending on how cool it looks.
Right.
And in Tatis's case, I have now seen it. It looked really cool.
Yeah.
Like the timing
Well,
was
and then
perfect.
obviously a grand slam relative to a solo home run, whatever else.
Right.
But then I was just trying to think throughout sports, like the pickpocket from a guard, like when 2 guards are and you pick them and then you take it in for the layup or the dunk on the other side.
Good one.
That's pretty phenomenal. Obviously, any sort of like outstanding defensive play, football wise, that leads to an interception or something,
Yeah.
is up there. But the home run robbery or like a diving catch where someone dives into the screen, like you're not expecting them to be there.
And so what's the word that you're using?
The most aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetically pleasing. I mean, you still basketball brain. I probably still go to like the swish, like are you looking for something more
defensive play?
Oh, defensive play.
Sorry, I didn't add that to it. That's where the home run robbery is. So just like aesthetically pleasing defensive play. So like I said, it is aesthetically pleasing if your guard just picks the pocket of somebody and then goes the other way.
How about like just pick 6 on like a screenplay where the guy just walks into the
Pretty
end zone,
great.
nobody in front of him.
Yeah.
Something like that. You're right. A good looking home run robbery. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And in Tatis's case, it was very, very good last night. Tatis.
Any other names you're worried about that's on here?
No, I'm just looking at the list. I should be good. Grammy hopeful Pat McAfee set to join Monday Night Countdown as his ESPN role has expanded. And he joined Scott Van Pelt, Jason Kelsey, Marcus Spears, and Jason McCourty on the show. Just how overexposed is McAfee on ESPN these days?
He's going to do College Game Day. He has his daily show. They work him into segments of SportsCenter all the time. And then now he's going to do Monday Night Countdown.
I mean, obviously the ratings for his show must be good, right?
Yeah, I think the ratings for his show are great.
I just get worried that, he's a very social media forward guy, right? And so like you have to figure out what the best, what you're going with here. And there's no doubt that whenever Pat McAfee's on TV, it gets clipped and it goes out there on social media. And so they're probably thinking, we want more clips. We want more clips to go viral on social media. We have a normal Monday Night Countdown show where none of it ever goes viral. But if we put Pat McAfee, who doesn't wear sleeves and a cowboy hat, and he says some crazy stuff before the game, we will go viral. And people will see this. Now, people won't be watching the show anymore, I don't think, because of Pat McAfee. But they will have a couple more retweets off of it, which might be worth making him work 65 hours a day and potentially develop a drug addiction.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
One of my contentions with how things have changed with ESPN is I liked when you had certain individuals were like known for the sports of which they were in. So I don't love this new version of it where you have to take Stephen A. Smith and you put him into everything and you put Pat McAfee into everything.
Nope.
And like, I would strongly prefer when it was like your baseball guy was your baseball guy. You had an NFL guy, you had college guy. I don't love the crossover of it. I don't know. There's something about it.
I completely agree.
It feels cleaner to me, and I feel like I trust the analysis more because it seems like it comes from an expert of the subject and not a guy who's just dropping in to talk about everything.
Look what happened to Herb Street.
I absolutely hate Herb Street.
Herb Street showed up everywhere, and then
with his dog.
with his dog, and then his dog showed up everywhere, and he is very clearly clearly overexposed.
Yeah, well, he's
last
also not an
And so-
NFL broadcaster.
And what happens, like, slowly but surely, and I think this is happening with McAfee, the general public
pushes back.
they're like, why is this guy being shoved in my face at all times? It's nothing that I dislike about him in particular. Maybe in McAfee's case it is, but he's so present.
Yeah.
Why? And so it eventually, the candle burns really, really bright, and then it burns out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what's next for McAfee.
Playing solitaire on the air, like Stephen A. Smith. Anyway, MLB Network has a documentary coming out on September 10th, revisiting the sport's return in the wake of 9/11. Is this basically an auto watch for Connor Happer?
Absolutely.
Have you heard about this?
No.
So there's a private showing for Mets season ticket holders. It involves a lot of commentary from some of the Mets players and all of that. There's basically every notable baseball person or analyst that you could think of that would still be alive is on this thing. This, for you and I, like, this is
Automatic.
an instant watch as soon as we have the opportunity to. And it runs through the return of the sport, like September 16th, I think, is when the first games were played again, through George Bush's pitch in Game 3 of the World Series.
Is it just to age? Like, is it just people our age who are really, like, anytime a 9/11 thing comes out, I
don't think it's just our age. It's the phrases.
I don't like. It's obviously the most traumatic thing that's happened.
Well, it happened on U.S. soil. Like, most of the stuff that's ever happened has happened somewhere else.
Yeah.
This happened in the United States.
Yeah.
In a very, very public way. And so, it's hard to move on from it. It's also,
and we remember it like it was yesterday. Everybody does.
Well, that's the other part of it. And it's 25 years, so we're now on a milestone date. So you have that working with it too.
Yeah, I mean, totally,
as soon as I saw this, I was like, I know I'm in. I'm 99% sure you're in.
Very much so.
Yeah, it looks really good. MLB TV subscribers will be able to get it starting September 13th.
Damn.
So
start the countdown for that. Screw the football season.
All right, speaking of football, the New York Giants signed Najee Harris, who is coming off an Achilles tear. Any chance he has a surprise season, or was last year the beginning of the end for the former Alabama running back?
I saw him going through some drills yesterday.
Yeah.
The video looked very promising.
This was a guy that I thought would be a better NFL running back than he ended up. And then it was like, okay, he's on the Steelers. They don't have any offensive linemen. But then he just sort of lacked explosion. And then he tears his Achilles in the first game with the Chargers.
Usually not a good thing for lack of
I think
explosion,
it's probably
guys.
over for Najee Harris, but kind of hope there's like out of nowhere, he's like this resurgent running back. I've kind of always liked him. He was really good at Alabama.
He was awesome at Alabama. I mean, he's like, you know, people always say this about Derrick Henry, but you develop a running back in a lab, and it's like you pretty much have those guys.
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, Henry obviously has had like the phenomenal NFL career that has not happened yet for Najee Harris. I hope that he just has like a big year, like out of nowhere.
I like this idea of the Giants just accumulating. Who else is on the Giants running back depth chart? I'm going to go find out. Do they just
still have
accumulate
Singletary?
a bunch of running backs who just are hurt all the time?
Do they have Tyrone Tracy still?
Running back, Scadaboo, Tyrone Tracy, nice job. Devin Singletary.
Okay.
And that was incredible, Schaefer.
Wow.
And then
I'm impressed.
Najee Harris.
We're close enough to fantasy football that I feel like I have knowledge that's completely and utterly useless.
Well, you got to do your
draft.
you got to do your research.
Yeah.
To make your selection. So I get that.
It's only a matter of time before Jackson Dart gets absolutely smacked again. When's their next preseason game? I'll be excited.
Thursday.
He got smacked
tomorrow.
by the Vikings in that first one.
I know. Let's start the countdown again. All right. There you go. That's our free balling today. We didn't even get to our camp fight, but
Yeah, I just saw it on the TV.
maybe we'll still have time to do that a little bit later on in the show, because there's still more show to come. Ladies and gentlemen, Lauren Michelson is our next guest. We should probably take this phone call.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are we?
Hey, sorry, I'm not going to leave Andrew hanging. Hey, Andrew, are you still there?
I'm still there.
What's up?
Hey, what's the deal with the Creighton center position, and how serious is the injury?
Nailed it.
Is
good one. Yeah, but not a defensive play in particular.
What
Thank
if
you,
someone blocked the
Andrew.
alley?
If someone blocked the alley oop, that could be aesthetically pleasing. So they went out and got Fred King, who has what was that again? Fred King, who gives a big smile back to the bench. Big smile.
It's the pause. It's always the pause.
We just gotta
big smile?
we just gotta start it at big smile. I think. I don't know why I say it that way. Fred King, who gives a big smile back to the bench.
Big smile.
I'm
Back to
hoping
the
John.
great
I'm hoping when you and John Bishop do the broadcast in Vegas, you kind of one of you two casually brings that up.
Maybe
at some point.
Maybe John will do
I
an
hope you
impression.
guys start calling him Big Smile.
I was doing an impression kind of John, and maybe John will do an impression of me.
Okay, I like that.
Big smile. Who's doing a job? Okay, so they went out and got Fred King,
AKA Big Smile.
aka Big Smile. Oswin is here. They expect him to be, very productive for them this year. He may or may not be injured at the moment, and I think they would expect him back by the time the season rolls around. But Fred King is a nice insurance policy to have there, at least in the early part of the season while everything is getting going. And then you have a couple guys behind him too. The guy that they brought in from Oakland, it's a great mystery. I mean, I love it. I love his production and what he's brought to the table. I don't like he definitely provides a different thing than the rest of the Creighton guards. I think he's way more of an offensively tilted player.
Sure.
Than I think the rest of with the exception of Enos, I suppose. So I don't really, I don't know how it works out with the sort of combos of the guards that you're putting out there, but I don't think he's like a pure mop-up guy. I
think he's playing.
Yeah, that's not my current viewpoint on him, but we'll see what happens when they get back and start practicing next week.
I mean, 40% 3-point shooter that can facilitate a little bit. There's a role there, even if it's not a starter.
And he's a fifth-year guy. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I assume he had some options,
right,
as to where to go.
Well, I think this was like it's not. We'll take him. We went out and we sought him.
The question is, you have to find minutes for a lot of people. And it's sort of a similar story as it was at the beginning of last year as well. So hopefully maybe that answers your question, Andrew. Always appreciate the Creighton questions. Travis says, whoa, is that Blue Jays talk? Boo.
Boo.
Maybe he would call him Creighton.
Hooray. Or Creighton.
Indeed. Oh, look, Debo says Aunt Wright is a big Brody fan. Maybe he's doing it for the clicks.
Wow. Is he trying to hone in on Creighton clips?
I gotta go. I gotta go check on Aunt Wright's tweets now. I don't follow.
Good luck.
Back after this with Lauren Michelson on 1620 The Zone.
Lauren Michelson.
I'm hoping you guys can wake me up a little bit this morning.
Lauren Michelson.
I will not feel bad for any of you in Omaha.
Lauren Michelson.
So whenever, hits the fan.
Lauren Michelson. KETV Channel 7.
No other thing I'd rather be doing at 9:15, 9:20 in the morning than talking to you two.
Lauren Michelson on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone.
I am ready to get the heck out of here.
All right, and we're joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Lauren Michelson from KTV. Good morning, Lauren. How are you?
Good morning. It's so good to hear from you. It's been too long, I feel like.
Well, what's been going on? We haven't talked to you since what, like the College World Series?
Right. I know, that makes me sound really bad. It has been busy. Wednesdays are tough, but we're getting into a routine because football's here. So that means a lot of work, but a lot of routine too, which is a good thing.
It's fine. There's a roster. We've talked to, and we still haven't talked to Noah, but we've talked to Andy, and we're like, whenever, if you're doing a story at 9:00, don't let us get in your way.
Yeah.
Andy's happy to pinch hit for me and come in. He loves talking with you too.
Awesome.
So anytime.
Do you enjoy this time of year where you have the buildup for multiple different sports? I was looking through your timeline there. Obviously, there's football stuff going on, which I don't know if you were over at practice yesterday. I'm assuming you were. And then you have, you were doing volleyball stuff last week where you were talking with Brian Rosen, you were talking with Nebraska volleyball, and you have all of this buildup for the season, which, as you mentioned, would keep you pretty busy. But do you enjoy kind of the preview season a little bit?
Yeah, it's fun to do. It gets you excited, right? Because we're balancing so many different things. I was there yesterday too and did a story on Gunnar Gatula, and it's not even online. That shows you how busy we truly are right now. It's hard to balance everything, but it is fun because for the first, this is the time of year that nothing's happened yet. So everyone is excited. Everyone's talking about new look roster, what's changing, what the coaches want to do differently. So I think in that sense, it's that rare time of year where everyone's kind of on the same page, starting at zero at the same time. At this rate, end of August, it's kind of just like what we've been saying all year too. I'm kind of done with all the talking. I'm ready to just go watch football, go watch volleyball. But we also have a lot of travel coming up with Wrigley Field match for Nebraska volleyball against Mizzou, and then I'm also going to Dallas for those exhibitions for the Spikes Under the Lights. So a lot happening, but that kind of hopefulness in the air about what's to come and the unknown is not a bad thing.
What is the vibe that you get from being around Nebraska football at this moment? I feel like a lot's been made of, just how they're answering questions and sort of how they're going about their business and how it's different and all these different things. What is your takeaway from what you've experienced being around that team over the last couple of weeks?
My biggest takeaway is Nebraska football is just done talking about what could happen, what they could do, and what they want to do. And they're just ready to go out and play and show what they can do. And I think that is actually very powerful because we've seen the Matt Rule that likes to captivate a room and talk and explain and back things up. But what feels different about this year, despite, depth and experience and the fact that this is his oldest roster and one of the oldest rosters in the country aside, they just are very much so taking after their coach this year in the sense that they don't want to say too much. We've kind of felt that. Actually, we've certainly felt that on Coach Rule's Saturday media sessions. They're quick this year. They're 10, 15 minutes max. Don't ask him a yes or no question because he will answer it yes or no. And he's not expanding. He's not wanting to follow up. And from a media standpoint, you want to get a little bit more out of him, but I think it's a good thing that he's keeping a lot close to the chest and he's just going to really let how they look on Saturdays this fall play out. So I think that's a good thing that we have not seen under Rule's leadership the last couple of years.
Lauren, we're always about talking here, and so we're never going to slow down.
We will answer your question for so many minutes. If
we can fill, there's no question for that. So I am interested. You mentioned you have a Gunnar Gatula story. We talked a little bit with Sam about him. Happer and I talked a little about him as well. I'm fairly certain you were in Lincoln when he was still in high school and would have probably seen him play at Lincoln Southeast. What did you learn? What did you pick up doing this Gunnar Gatula story that'll run here soon?
Yeah, it's so cool when you see a guy like that, because I did cover him in high school at Southeast, and with his dad as the head coach, which is such a cool thing too. And you just knew then, you're like, oh, this kid's going to be special. And he's been dealt a tough hand with injuries, and seeing him go down against USC last year was really tough. But he's come back with a vengeance, and it's great that a new coach in Jeep Wade is already noticing the strides he's making from spring to now fall camp. And, they brought in these 3 transfers with deep experience on the offensive line, but then Gunnar is really making a push to start at right tackle over Tree Babalade. So I don't think many expected that, but considered it to be a thing. And I think it's awesome. But to have your assistant coach, like Jeep went out there yesterday and basically right off the bat said, like, Gunnar Gatula's had a great camp. He's one of the guys I trust. He's going to get it done. He's from Nebraska. He wants to win, and that's why I love Gunnar Gatula. I mean, to say something like that speaks volumes. So it's cool that there's a competition at that spot, and it's having to be a Lincoln guy makes it all the more cool too.
Lauren Michelson from KTV is with us. How excited are you for volleyball? I mean, you mentioned all the travel that's coming up. Volleyball season, I mean, you've seen it from the Nebraska side. Obviously, it's hard to ignore from the Nebraska side, given it's a huge production and a huge show at this point, but then got to experience it from the Creighton side of things as well. I saw you talking with Brian Rosen. What excites you most about volleyball season, which is like starting now, this weekend, basically?
Yeah, it's here. Well, for both teams, there's a lot of excitement. For Nebraska, it's just the fact that they're doing something so unique. This travel is just unbelievable. I mean, the match I'm most excited to watch is obviously the 1 versus 2 against Texas in Las Vegas at the end of the month. That's going to really set a precedent very early on. And what's so interesting about Nebraska is last year you thought, oh my gosh, how is Danny Bestrom Kelly going to make these roster decisions with so much depth? And then you look at the team this year, and it's the exact same players adding in a couple freshmen, and that margin between who starts and who comes off the bench is even smaller because they're that much better. And that is what's so cool, is that they can win and be one of the best teams in the country with anyone starting. Heck, they could win with backup setter Campbell Flynn running the offense. So they are. We say it every year, it feels like, but they truly are the best team they've had in a decade, I'd say. They're just loaded. So high expectations. But the most interesting thing about Nebraska volleyball right now is they're really approaching their mindset differently. I think they said when it was last week during the media session, they said we were way too focused on the outcome day to day. And as much as you have to finish, you win one match at a time. They're really focused on finishing strong, because clearly they haven't finished the way they wanted to the last couple of years. And instead of spending all this time worried about the ranking and the undefeated record they had for so long, they're just taking it down to the wire of how they want to feel when they end the season, and that's fueling them. And DBK said, hey, look, yeah, there's a lot of pressure on these 4 seniors to win a national championship, but they're not letting that drive them as much. Rather, they want to have that feeling about being great about the legacy they left and what they did here. So mindset is great for that group. I'm so excited to watch them play. I'm a Mizzou grad, so that Wrigley Field match will be fun.
Yeah.
And then Brian Rosen's team is all new, like a lot of new pieces. They have a really good defense, and they have a really tough schedule to open up the season to multiple Big Ten teams, and Texas A&M comes to town as well. So will be a fun year for volleyball. It's alive and well in this state, clearly.
Lauren, you mentioned, you kind of just offhand mentioned Campbell Flynn, but it made me wonder. So we have a pretty good idea of who's going to be starting for Nebraska volleyball. Who are some of the players off the bench that you're excited to see when they get their opportunity to come in, whether they're rotated in or Nebraska takes the first 2 sets or however they choose to do it? Is there anybody coming off the bench that you're particularly interested in seeing more of this year?
Yeah, I mean, the middle blocker room is really interesting. Obviously, you can't argue with Andy Jackson being a starter, but Kenna Coggill, whether she starts or comes off the bench, is really incredible. Her power as a hitter is so strong. She's got an excellent block. She reads her hitters really, really well. So I'm very excited about her. She's a sophomore. And then Terea Sigler, outside hitter, like she could very well start as well. Harper Murray's got that one spot, of course, but she continues to get stronger. This sophomore class that they stay here is going to be a force to be reckoned with. So all of those sophomores, and then these freshmen, Jaden Robinson is a freshman outside hitter as well. And she is incredible. She's got so much power in her swing. She's got a really high level volleyball IQ. So they're going to mess around with some, especially during the exhibition matches in Dallas. They're going to mess around with some lineups. And I think that's going to be very eye-opening to see how much talent and depth. We saw a little bit during the red-white scrimmage, but to actually play another team and see what they can do is going to be really exciting.
All right, excited to get it all going. Lauren Michelson from KETV. Lauren, we will let you go. Good to catch up as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, guys. Talk later.
Lauren Michelson from KETV. Tons of previews. So many previews.
Yeah, it's heavy previews.
It used to be just football preview. We have Nebraska football. Have you heard about it? And now it's like, actually, we have lots of volleyball teams.
Volleyball
that are good around here.
You got Creighton volleyball, you got Nebraska volleyball, you got Nebraska football, you have the other sports. Soccer, I think, is getting underway with stuff going on.
Soccer
Nebraska.
is underway. Yeah.
So, and obviously here Creighton as well.
Where is Nebraska? They're just off this weekend. Okay, they're not playing this weekend. Are they doing any? Are we about to see the secret scrimmages in volleyball pop up? That'd be fun. I don't know what good it would do Nebraska to do like a scrimmage against another like regional team, given that they would just
people would be mad that it's not a public scrimmage because they would want to go watch it.
And then it wouldn't do them any good because they would just pummel them into the floor.
Their secret scrimmages or inter squad scrimmages that happen at
I'm telling you, like the dream team practices.
It really is.
And stuff like that. Creighton this weekend will go down to Kansas and play KU in an exhibition before they start their season at Sioux Falls next week against those Big Ten teams that Lauren mentioned, Purdue, Minnesota, and USC, before returning home against Arizona on Friday the 4th. Nebraska goes to the Jerry World Classic, Spikes Under the Lights.
It's on TNT.
Which is on TNT and has the chance to play for $1 million. That will be an interesting way to start the season. And then the mega NIL tournament.
Also an interesting way to start the season.
So fun.
Texas. This is the second time it's come up. And each time I've been like, oh, wow, the former national champions Texas A&M will be playing Creighton volleyball here in Omaha.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool.
They play they had Louisville here last year. They have Texas A&M here this year, which I believe that's the last non-con game. Let me look.
When is it?
September the 20th.
Okay.
September the 20th. It is a Sunday afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Will you be emceeing?
I most certainly will.
Wow.
I most certainly will. As I will for every single volleyball match throughout the history of time.
Whoa.
Every one of them. I'm Mr.
You're not going to miss a single volleyball match?
Nope.
Incredible.
Mm-mm. No. Not at all. I love volleyball that much.
You love it.
I'm Mr. Volleyball. Rob Anderson sent me a picture of me emceeing a volleyball game on this past Sunday. Look, there's me holding a piece of paper and yelling into a microphone already.
You love yelling. You like holding paper too.
I do. I probably hold the paper too much. I need to work on that for my presentation. Put the paper in my back
paper,
pocket.
have it memorized.
I don't need the paper.
Why do I don't?
I like to hold the paper because it makes me feel like, I like holding.
I'll be honest, you seem more important when you have a piece of paper because it's like, what is on that piece of paper?
He's got something on there. There's a bunch of colors on there. It's really nothing. All right, we'll take a break. Accountability as we get out of here on a Wednesday. Next on 1620 The Zone. Still get registered for the Oregon trip, 1620thezone.com. What's the Oregon trip, you may ask? Well, it's Nebraska and Oregon on Saturday, October 17th. We'll send you to the game on an airplane, 2 tickets, 2-night hotel stay. We'll give you $150 on top of it. Go enter it, 1620thezone.com right now, or, of course, listen to the shows. Unsportsmanlike Conduct has your bonus chances to win this week. Matt will have them next week, and then we're back to us the week after, and then the bonus chances are over. By then, it'll be almost time to actually do the trip.
Now, if you're actually going to the game and you already got the tickets and you're driving, you could just take I-80 from Omaha to Salt Lake, go north on 15, then you take I-84, get yourself over to Portland, then drive south on I-5, and you're in Eugene. There you go.
That is true, but you have the chance to not think about that at all because we're just going to put you on a plane.
Yes.
That would be a better thing, I think, for everybody. All right, before we get out of here, it is time for our favorite segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for accountability.
Anybody have thoughts?
I have a couple things. One of them radio related, one from last night. I keep you try to put your kid to bed and you need to wind them down. But the problem is we'll just start playing and he'll get all fired up 2 minutes before the expected bedtime.
That's right.
And I do a bad job with the wind down. I'm more of a wind up type. I'm going to pick him up and throw him on his bed. I'm going to, he wants to be held upside down and swung in the air.
It's hard to not mess with the kid.
Oh, yeah.
It really is.
I know. Allegedly, it's for them, but the entertainment I get out of it is great, too.
Yeah. Toss them up in the air.
But I got to do a better job so that way we can have smoother bedtimes.
This is good.
So it's something that I have to acknowledge about myself.
I will offer this counter sort of point. It appears as if there's no rhyme or reason to if the bedtime is hard or not.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's like you could do everything and have a perfect day and this perfect mix of being excited to go to bed and be tired from the day, and then the bedtime is a complete disaster.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, our kid is an angel. I love this kid so much. And then they freak out.
There's a finite window between getting them tired but not overtired, because if they get overtired, then it's really hard to get them to sleep.
Yeah.
Then they're just crying.
It's tough. So I appreciate the accountability.
Yeah. The other thing is I have to figure out how I can do a radio show and not just randomly either have to clear my throat or I've had these coughs. I just have this post-nasal drip I can't get rid of.
So John wrote in, he said, accountability, someone missed the cough button. I actually think Schaefer got his mic
I turned
on.
my microphone off
It came
and
over
I coughed
my
so loud it went through his.
That's how you tell that microphones are good.
I guess so, yes.
So I don't know what we're going to do about this post-nasal drip that's just the problem for all of this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but I'm going to have to figure it out.
That's not your accountability. That's the post-nasal drip.
Well, the post-nasal drip is me. I probably have it because I'm not healthy. And so therefore, it's all comes back to me anyways.
Yep.
But I feel like I have to cough again already.
Don't think about coughing. You'll cough.
It's in my.
It's like thinking about yawning. You'll yawn.
Maybe
don't even say the word.
Maybe you could use the space behind me to cough. You just shut the door and cough, and then
You can't get up that fast.
coughing room.
Yes,
that's disgusting.
Yeah, it'd just be filled with germs.
Also, he can't get up that fast. So clearly, the coughs come out of nowhere.
Yeah, if I had time to think about it, I'd try to get water, or I have the cough drops, or whatever else. But usually, it's about a 4-second thing, and now I'm just turning this off. Do we need some sort of motion that I make to you for you to also hit the off button?
If you can make it happen, it's coming. Shut the mic out.
Yeah,
Joey, what do you got?
I mispronounced the name. Schaefer caught me on that, and then
Tatis.
You got mad at me.
At least you didn't mispronounce it the way that
it's just an unfamiliar name. That's my excuse.
Yeah, you're not a baseball guy.
I'm always willing, when I send these over, I'm always willing to tell you the phonetic pronunciation.
Yeah, depending on the day.
It's almost always going to be baseball players.
Depending on the day, if I'm busy with other things while we're doing the show, I'll probably not get to the questions until the break before the segment. So it's dependent on the day. I would reach out to you. So that's on me for not asking you. I thought I got it. I thought I was familiar with the name, but I guess the pronunciation unfamiliar.
What did you actually say?
Tatis, I think.
Tatis. At least you didn't say, what you could have said. You could have said something else.
Yeah, I could have said something else. It would have been disaster.
It could have been. It wouldn't have been that big of a disaster. Actually, it would have been funnier if you would have said something else. But that's okay. All right, good. So last night yesterday afternoon actually, I had this plan when I got home. I was like, I'm gonna make rice bowls for like the day. So we had that already pre-chopped up chicken from Costco, and I was like, all right, I need to make rice, cut up a couple peppers, and we'll make bowls and we'll just have them for the rest of the day.
Rice bowls are great.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say that it was one of the best rice bowl creations that I've ever made.
Toss the chicken in any kind of sauce or anything?
It was the pre-season stuff from. Have you seen that? The big bag of pre-season stuff from Costco.
The stuff that I would get from Costco came in
it's basically the taco meat just by itself.
Okay,
that they
sell that by itself now.
They do,
oh,
like 2 pounds of it. Yeah,
this is good.
It's awesome. It's
easy. Is really.
So I tossed it all in like a wok to warm it up, and then whatever. It was a great creation. And so I usually I chopped up a jalapeno and I put it in there, and me and my wife were eating our rice bowls. And I was like, is this really spicy or is what happened here? I usually put a jalapeno in it. So I must not have removed the seeds properly or something like that. And then I'm like, it gets to the point where I'm in distress. I am. It's very spicy.
Your body's fighting you.
Yeah, and then I realized that my face has begun to sting like I had touched the jalapenos and I had touched my face. I did. It wasn't my. But then I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like sweating, like mouth breathing, and my face is on fire like I'd been sunburned.
Oh no!
And I'm like, whoa, what is going on? It was terrible, and it was all very manageable. I probably improperly disposed of the seeds. I woke up this morning, and I can't explain this. Because it wasn't this way most of yesterday after I made the bowls. My hands felt like they were sunburned, but just my hands.
This is all from the jalapeno.
I can't.
No, perfectly normal jalapeno. You didn't go out and get a ghost pepper or anything.
Like, I definitely can track the spicy face back to the jalapenos, but I don't know if I can exactly directly link the spicy hands to the jalapeno. But either way, I mean, just a total mess by my own undoing yesterday. But it was a great rice bowl, and I'm proud of myself for that.
I am excited to learn about this chicken.
Yeah. Dan writes in, Connor has a wok. Dope. I'm coming over to do wok things.
I also have a wok. I don't use it.
Dude, woks are so sick.
Connor has spicy hands, and Kevin Kugler's got soft hands.
Exactly.
According to Matt McMaster.
What the hell is going on? I woke up
when I saw this, I was worried that you were leading up to you scratched your eye or something.
I've done that before.
I've
done that before.
Very bad.
Very bad.
You do not.
I just had spicy face.
Yeah.
Spicy face and spicy hands.
Spicy face Happer.
Spicy face.
That's my new nickname, Spicy Face.
Spicy face.
All right, that's our accountability for today. Sometimes we make mistakes. It happens.
We sure do.
We appreciate you guys listening. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Let's do a crossover coming up next.